What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of my new podcast, Bird Call. Today we're going to be talking all things Falco and mentality surrounding Melee's largest tournaments. I'm joined today by my two or maybe three special guests, and I'd like to welcome my good friends and fellow Falcos, Bones and Squid. If you guys are new to the scene or don't know who these players are, allow me to introduce them. First off is Squid. He's 12th on the PR in SoCal. A star of the esteemed documentary 60 Frames, and the second coolest ginger on this podcast, and a regular lab monster.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. And speaking of lab monsters, we have none other than Bones. Bones is perhaps the largest lab monster among the Falcos, documenting huge branches of Falco's Punish Tree. He's a pioneer of the Bones land, and an avid poster on Smashboards. Bones, you good?
Did it not come out?
No, I don't think that we heard you, but you're fine. Dude, McCain is in my...
What's up, guys?
Oh, okay, no, we heard that now. MacD in my chat also trolling me. That's excellent. Okay, so what I want to start out talking about is just kind of Falcos that inspired us. I think that, you know, Bones, you've been around forever, seen many Falcos come and go. Were there any particulars that, any Falcos in particular that really left a mark on you? Something that, somebody that inspired you heavily?
Oh no.
Oh no, Bones, we can't hear you.
It might be better if he turns off his webcam. I don't know if that'll help.
I don't know. You could. We were just having a conversation. We had like a 10-minute, for everybody in the chat and everybody watching, we were just having a very fluid conversation together.
It was completely fine for 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. Of course, the stream starts.
It might be that I have two webcams going instead of...
Oh, maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
Should be. Well, we just heard you say that.
Well, let's Squid give his answer and give me a second.
Okay, sounds good. All right, so Squid, anybody that influenced you heavily, any of your favorite Falcos just to watch, what do you think?
Yeah, my favorite Falco is definitely PPMD, which is like the basic answer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like most Falcos when I watch it. It's like there's not that many good Falcos, especially like nowadays at top level and stuff. It's like you kind of either like PPMD or you like Mango, and I kind of prefer PPMD's just like both in terms of his style and how he plays it has like a certain logic to it that I can follow better, and in terms of his ability to articulate his thoughts on the game, since he talks a lot, like I don't know, when he streams or something, or when he's done those videos and on Smashboards and on Twitter and on Reddit, he like posts a lot of stuff about his thoughts, and you don't get that from Mango. So
Definitely.
I've like learned to like PPMD style a lot.
Yeah, that's interesting that you said that, because I've talked a lot about, obviously, both of these people. Yeah, Bones, if you need to turn off your webcam, do whatever you need to do. But it's really interesting. You can probably turn them both up 50% or more. Sorry, I'm just looking at what my video editor's saying to me. But no, it's really interesting that you said that PPMD has, like, an easy... Like, when you watch him, you understand, like, what he's thinking while he's playing. I feel the exact opposite, and you mentioned Mango, too. When I watch Mango make a decision, every single time I think... That's exactly what I would have done, or wow,
I've seen you
what
say
I
that
wanted.
before too, and I found that interesting that we're kind of the opposite in that way.
Yeah.
Although part of it for me is that like I kind of understand PPMD's logic because I've read PPMD's logic. Like he's written about it before. He's made like a big 2-page write-up on like the Samus matchup, and then I watch a Samus match, and he's like, oh yeah, he does what he said he does, you know? Like,
Definitely. And I like the way the both of them, you know, like Mango actually used to be on Smashboards pretty frequently back in the day. But all of his answers, I remember there's like a pretty famous thread about like him describing when to do double lasers from the ledge, and he was just like, yeah, when they're far away from the ledge, just double laser. And it's like, those are the sorts of answers he gives about the game. They're not like detailed explanations or anything like that. But PP breaks down every, he dashes forward and he dashes back. And he talks about the like implications. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's like, okay, it might be a little easier to understand his logic when it's really, you know, he's boiling it down that hard. But, you know, Mango talks about the game and also plays the game in more simplistic terms, I think.
Yeah. I agree. I've had a hard time kind of like playing just like fluid or subconscious or like not thinking that much about the individual interactions. Like there's so much like lasers, right? There's so much detail that people don't talk about. So
Yeah.
people are like, oh yeah, you can like laser down air. It's like, okay, well, is it a fast fall laser or no fast fall, a high laser or a low laser, a drift forward or a drift back or a half drift forward? You know, like all these thoughts like kind of paralyze my thoughts when I play the game if I don't think about them. So
Yeah.
PPMD kind of goes through that detail and helps me sort of have a logic, because if I don't do it, like my instinct doesn't do the right things a lot of the time.
Yeah,
So like I have to like train myself one by one.
This is actually a discussion I just had with Drug Fox about like when I teach people the game, it's all about like you know, you want to watch, wait, and react to what people are doing. You want to watch the screen, see what they're doing, analyze the position that you're in, and think about the options that both of you guys have. And I teach people to do that all the time. You know, Drug Fox calls it screen looking. People that look at the screen, which is good.
Funny.
But so I teach people to do that, but then they end up hesitating. As soon as they get to that point, they're thinking, right? But then they hesitate.
Right.
And I was like, how do I get them to stop hesitating? Because I was just hanging out with him, CEO. We were just talking about it. And he was like, well, it's like you have to go into it with a game plan still. You have to have the options built into your subconscious of like what you should be thinking about when you're in those situations. So it's kind of weird how it happens, because it's a little bit of like conscious thought and subconscious thought as well.
Yeah, I think like a lot of it is training your subconscious thought is what I'd like. Have you read The Art of Learning? He talks about that a lot. Yeah, so it's like that was one of my biggest takeaways, is to think of your subconscious thought as like an entity that you need to train.
Exactly.
Because your first instinct is wrong, and so once you train your instinct, eventually it's correct.
Most definitely.
So then you, like in the future, you still don't have to think too much in the game, but you have the more correct, just like instinct to just pick the options.
Definitely. And that's kind of when he talks about flow state too, which is like such a cool concept, because it's like your subconscious like coming out, and it's like you don't have to think at all about any of it, it's just happening. But it's like peak performance. It's really, really cool.
Find yourself thinking in friendlies. I was talking to Bobby Big Balls about this yesterday at Zanju.
Thinking in friendlies.
Like, you want to think to get better, but then sometimes you just want to play good in the friendly.
So this, if I'll go, if that's cool, Squid.
Yeah, go.
It's just like, this is again, I mean, I talked to Sammy a lot about the game, but we were talking about caring, and he was like, he said, I care a lot about the quality of my play within friendlies. And not so much in tournament, which is something hard for him to deal with as a competitor, because obviously you need to care about the quality of your play as soon as you're in a tournament, because that's when it matters. But for improving, he really focuses on his execution and everything like that. And so I think that same focus that he's talking about is kind of like conscious thinking. You know what I mean? So I think that's a good way to go about learning, is what I'm saying.
I've had like a couple stages, like at one point I was going to like 2 or 3 weeklies per week, and while I was doing that, like the distinction between tournament and friendlies kind of went away, because I'm going to so many tournaments that it's like, who cares if I do bad at this one? You know, like there's so many that they're all kind of the same. And so like I kind of stopped distinguishing how I play in friendlies or how I play in tournament, and would just, you know, always play to learn, even if it's tournament, because, you know, fuck it, who cares if I lose? Or always kind of playing to win, even friendlies, because, you know, like there was no longer a distinction there. And
That's really
sometimes that changes how you look at execution, or changes how you look at a game plan. Like, do I stick to my game plan even if I know that I might not win because I don't know it as well, versus just like, I don't know, playing it safe, backing off, like knowing that my opponent's likely to make a mistake if I let him, but now I'm not practicing my game plan anymore, or something like that, which is something I've struggled with. I don't think there's like a super clear-cut answer of how to do it every single time to play your best and improve the fastest at all times.
That makes sense. So Bones, you're with us now, yeah?
So what was the question? What Falco did I find influenced me?
Yeah. I wanted to kind of come back to that, because you didn't get to answer earlier. Yeah, what Falco influenced you the most, or like which one do you like watching or analyzing the most, maybe even?
Just based on the era of like how started watching tons of videos. Zoo and Forward were two that I really took a lot from. And they're more old school, but I think it's almost like their styles are actually better. So I had sort of Shiz and Mango, who were more crazy. I think Zoo and Forward styles can be applied pretty well in the current meta, because of their usage of lasers and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that because it's like it was two kind of separate schools of Falco. There was like the Mango and the Shiz, and then there's like the Forward and the Zoo, maybe even like Zangu Zen, who came maybe a little bit later. But it's like there's the controlled style of Falco and the crazy style of Falco, and it's like it's almost as if you had to pick a camp, right?
Yeah, it's still kind of like that. I feel.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
But
I think that like the control type Falco, it's like PPMD did it so much better than everyone else that like it's hard to, I don't know, look at anyone else and be like, yeah, that's how I want to play when you see PPMD do it so much better.
yeah,
So, I mean, maybe it's like based on influence of like at the time, you know, those are the people that were around, like Zoo and Forward.
mhm.
But nowadays when I watch them, I'm like, I can't watch them after having watched PPMD. You know?
Mhm.
Made me think of is like maybe when we all start out, we're all sort of like crazy wild Falcos, and I think it seems like some people are able to make that work naturally, and then other people are like, okay, I'm just getting destroyed. They develop a game plan.
Yeah,
'Cause
definitely.
I feel like I started out as pretty aggressive and like over the top, very much playing like West balls,
Mhm.
and then it didn't work for so long that I was like, okay, I just need to camp really hard, and I sort of swung the other way,
Yeah.
and now I think I'm in
Yeah.
the middle.
It's really interesting. I feel like I'm at a similar point in my career right now, which is something. It's causing me to think a lot about my own play. I'm doing a lot of like introspective thinking because it's like I feel. I mean, maybe you guys have analyzed my play or something. I felt like I kind of started out as like a pretty wild, technical, like aggressive, always hold forward Falco, and then then I really got bored of losing to Puff all the time. I wanted to beat Peach a little more often. The Marth matchup seemed random to me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna take control of the situation, have a better understanding than my opponent, and then just go into it like that. And then that made me play more campy and a little bit more. I think along with having more control, I played less confident as well. So it's like striking that balance is so hard.
Yeah.
It's just really,
I
really
think
difficult.
it's really common for a Falco player to pick a style or not even pick a style, like a style just kind of falls on you. It's not like anybody like consciously chooses their style,
Mhm.
but like you pick a style and then Falcos end up playing like that for every matchup, and therefore they end up having matchups that they're good at, bad at.
Most definitely.
While like I think like other characters, it's less stark how differently you have to play versus Peach Puff Marth versus Fox Falcon or something.
Right, right.
And then as you try to like overcorrect for the Marth matchup, you get worse at the Fox matchup because it's hard to like do both and like compartmentalize that way. So,
Mhm. So
I've noticed from playing Marth is like Marth's floaty matchups are so much different than his spacey matchups.
yeah. That's
Like
true.
you're not gonna be doing any of the same stuff, and
Mhm.
I think Marth struggled with that for a long time.
Yeah, actually,
But
it's
now they
probably
seem
not
to
fair
do
to say
better.
that Falco. That's probably just me having the Falco lenses. I think every character has matchups that are harder as they learn, and then as they try to learn those matchups,
yeah.
it's tricky.
That's the extreme how different it is for Falco.
Hmm.
Yeah, I played Hybrid recently, and like Hybrid is extremely good at dash dancing, extremely quick and fluid, extremely good at down tilting and like acting out of down tilt,
Mhm.
and therefore he sucks at the Falco matchup. He just tries to spam down tilt a lot, and he tries to dash dance a lot.
Yeah.
And he can't do either of those, so he's like, it's my least favorite matchup.
That makes
But
sense.
conversely, like Marth is his favorite matchup because you get to dash dance and down tilt a lot, which is like why he was surprised that he beat Zane, but at the same time he's like, if it's gonna happen to anybody, it would have been him. It's my favorite matchup, and most Marths don't like it. So it's like
It makes
it's
sense.
funny how like happens to different people which matchups they like based on
Mhm.
their style.
So Bones, I just wanted to go back. You said like Zoo and Forward were some of your favorite Falcos, like especially back then in the meta, and it's almost because it would work even now. Do you think that's because of like they were the types of Falcos to establish the control and had a game plan? Was that appealing to you?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was just his combos. I was a huge combo junkie
Yeah,
since Bomb Soldier. I mean,
definitely.
combos.
Dang, he's so
and
old
then
school.
you definitely made me appreciate control much more, like lasering
Hmm.
and just the control leads into like even crazier combos. I think
Yeah, agreed.
that was like, holy crap, this character can do some nutty stuff when you have the opponent locked down.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that too. It's not like the more defensive you play, but I really do want to phrase it as like being controlled. Like the more you control your opponent, the cleaner hits you get. And it's a lot easier to start a combo off of a clean hit, right? Like you'll see Westballs, who is like the king of not controlling. He's just trying to confuse his opponent. I think he's trying to overwhelm.
Converting straight hits.
Yes, godlike at converting straight hits, but like people ask me like, should I watch Westballs to learn how to combo? And it's like, well, he's getting the first hit in so many places that you will never get that first hit. It is completely different. Like, which was so interesting because it's almost as if he created a meta of his own, but and he made it work for him, which was bonkers to me. But I
think that's cool because a lot of the like super successful players have gotten there by creating their own meta.
Definitely.
Which is like, it's really cool to see that he like managed to do that. And now I think he's kind of struggling to sort of update that for every matchup nowadays. But it's still like cool that he got to where he is the way he did. So
yeah, I most definitely agree, and that's kind of something. This is maybe something we're going to talk about later in the podcast, but I can bring up some of it now. It's like I feel like a lot of good characters, especially the characters that are kind of getting fleshed out, are almost seemingly one-dimensional at this point. Like you see up-and-coming Fox players, and I don't want to like name drop people that I think are one-dimensional, but people I think are really, really good. Like you have like KJH or Cyrox or like even Drug Fox's Fox when he was still playing competitively, and then you see like Zamu, and just like their punish games look very similar. Neutral spacings, mix-ups are all kind of just the same. But with Falcos, I don't necessarily see that. And you could even say it for Peaches too, right? Like you see Laud, Traphasia, Armada, they're doing like decently similar things for the most part, and especially within their punish game. And I never see two Falcos that punish the same way.
Right.
And it's like I'm curious about what your guys' thoughts are. Like, why is it Falco that why isn't he becoming more of a flowcharty character? I kind of want to hear Bones' thoughts on this.
One aspect that comes to mind is those characters. It's not just about like that their peak play is one-dimensional, but they have the ability to like play one-dimensional.
Okay.
If you look at Fox, he can play really standard, and then the player can sort of focus on one aspect. Having trouble clarifying what I'm saying.
No, I think that makes sense. It's like the character is so good, he has the ability to like play one-dimensional, and it can still work for him.
To do with like how good they are though. Like Peach can just can sort of just camp shield and like play around their godlike punish game in Armada's case. I mean, not that he's not amazing at everything else, but obviously his punish game is what sticks out when you watch him. And I think Falco can't just get by on just punish game or just spacing outside of everything. Like he sort of needs everything to be running all cylinders.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think like an oversimplification is that like Falco doesn't really use grabs during his combos, and grabs can't be SDI'd.
Okay,
which is,
that's
like,
true.
Big oversimplification, but a lot of the characters' punish games that we see, like all the up-and-comers can just copy. Like you've seen lower-level Peaches literally do Armada combos because they learn how to reverse bear.
Right.
And once you can reverse bear, that's the only hard part of the combo. You do up throw, dash attack, reverse bear, nair. That's the Armada combo.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's really hard to mimic.
Throw combos are huge.
PPMD combos. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point, guys.
Yeah, I've had this thought before about how like Falco's the only character that doesn't combo off or like grab mid combo too.
Right.
You know, like it's just, and so like every hit can be DI'd, SDI'd. You have to react to everything.
It's especially big for leading into KOs. I mean, we've seen in this meta Falco struggle so much getting KOs, and Sheik's had down throw, forward air, and down throw up air for like 10 years. It doesn't really matter how good or bad people get.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Be a thing.
Yeah. Man, I didn't even think about that.
Down throw and up throw.
Yeah.
Each has up throw nair. Really good confirms out of throws. And Martha's even gaining confirms with pivots now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, Falco's just like, come on, where's my kill follow-up?
If only you could get more technical with Falco and somehow beat SDI off of lasers or something. Oh, God.
Yeah. I was loving a lot of laser stuff. I'll talk about it later. The throws. Those lasers are so funny. They're so like, no other move is like them.
That's so weird. I think that Bones has recently done a lot of testing too.
Really? Oh yeah. I saw you some posts about it. I saw that like if you go to I Need Data, Like it doesn't even have the hitboxes for the lasers. Like I've never seen anyone talk about which direction do lasers shoot you in.
It's so weird.
Anything about them. It's crazy how little people understand those throws.
I know.
So
but
like
I do know there's some stuff.
Yeah.
There is some stuff people aren't doing. Like, I tested a long time ago. Falco can down throw Peach and then like tech chase with a laser down tilt.
Yes.
Interesting.
Like a 1 in 3, 1 in 4 chance of hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still something that like maybe if they're in the corner or something, it's way more likely to hit. I don't know.
That's also hard, like, because laser down tilt is like
Really
what,
hard.
a one or
It's like a
one frame
link,
link? Yeah. Oh my
It was
god.
like
Actually-
3 frames of
actually,
leniency.
It might be, isn't it? Because if a laser is stale, it's +7, and down tilt hits on frame 8, right? Because
Because of the Z-axis.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
yeah,
dude.
so it actually doesn't work with the stale laser.
I
Oh
hate
my
people that
God.
tell me Falco's down tilt's a good move. Like, never played the
Dude,
never tried to down tilt someone.
I agree.
Oh,
I
Peach is
agree.
Peach is at 120. Just down tilt her, guys.
Get shield grabbed into
A really funny interaction that just happened yesterday. I was playing Polish's Peach,
Mm-hmm.
ambiguously Polish. I was on the slant of Yoshi's story, and he came down with a float cancel fair, and I straight up down tilted him out of the air because I was
Oh,
like
wow.
angling it upwards.
Oh, that's
Oh,
sick.
It was
okay.
wild looking, dude.
Wait,
He was
that's
like,
sick.
"That's the best spacing I've ever seen on any move ever."
That's really funny. I mean, yeah, down tilt, not insanely reliable. Also, like, if you misspace it, it's like you're just gonna eat a free shield grab, and we just
Yeah.
talked about how characters are killing people off of shield grabs at this point, so it's like,
Yeah.
oh my, your spacing has to be precise, and like, you don't have time to recognize whether or not the spacing's good, because it's a one-frame link, you know? Like,
Right. You have to have inputted it already.
you have to input it already, exactly. And the other thing, too, is, I do think that down tilt is, like, I use it kind of cheesily. What I do against, like, floaty characters or characters that don't protect the bottoms of their shields with just, like, a full
Yeah,
shield.
look for shield pokes.
I look for shield pokes, but what I do is I laser double jab, and then if you're on the backside of someone's shield, it's a 100% like guaranteed shield poke. And even on Samus and Peach, if they try to angle their shields down, it doesn't matter because they're really bad at angling their shields down. So it's just like super guaranteed, and you're behind them, so they can't shield grab you. But it's like, it's only cheese because, like, when do you set up this situation? When are you behind
My
Peach
with
laser?
light shield.
Yeah, I'm sure that you're Peach with light shield. Everyone
I
will.
know that there's actually a trait for shield angling. I've never heard anyone else talk about this.
Do you mean like
Yeah.
different characters can angle more or less?
Like, yeah, like Pikachu is the most obvious one. He can angle his shield so far.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
a
did know
trait.
that.
But if you
I
look
thought said
at like
trick.
Falcon,
Okay,
Falcon,
yeah, Falcon can't do
the
shit.
center of their shield too. So it's not just the size of the shield. It's literally they can move the shield further across their body.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
No, I noticed that, and it was when I was labbing like down tilt shield poke stuff. I think Duck brought it up because I was like, well, why don't you just angle your shield down? And he was like, I can't. And I was like, what do you mean
Yeah,
you can't?
Samus can't angle for shit.
It's crazy. It was crazy to me. So yeah, nobody talks about that. That's interesting.
Sakurai's a
We all
genius,
know.
dude.
Yeah,
It blows my mind.
Quick balancing act, you know.
How is they like accident apparently, but like Sakurai's adjusting shield angling.
No, I don't understand it, dude. It's the most beautiful
Like,
accident.
there's no way.
No way at all. So, I mean, that was kind of talking about Falcos. Man, we went on a tangent. Come on, Squid, you
Yeah.
got a lot of background noise.
Yeah, let me close my window.
It's all good. Oh, are those people outside doing that? That's
yeah,
funny.
it's like a garbage truck or something.
Garbage truck, a ginger
The
truck.
only problem is it's like 90 degrees right now. So
Dude, I can't imagine how hot it is over there. It's like 90 degrees in Michigan. But let's see, we went off on a tangent. That was pretty cool. So I was curious about what matchups you guys thought that Falco lost. Or I guess what we could start up talking about is Falco's position on the tier list, which would kind of lead into matchups. So, Squid, I think most people, at least in my stream, know what I think, although we'll go over it later. But where do you position Falco on the tier list?
So I don't really like answering this question.
Of course not.
I think Falco could be like, I don't know, 1 through 4-ish. I don't think it matters that much. I think 1 through 4 are really close, and I think like 5 through 7 are like not that far behind. So I don't think it like 1 through 7 is like, I don't know. Falco can win every matchup, even at the very top level. So like it doesn't change the interactions whether he's first or second. You know, like he can fight Marth, and it's like, oh well, Marth might be better than him. It's like if he kills you off a grab, you're like, what? get when you say what position he is on the tier list. So he's good enough to maybe be first. I don't know, but I don't think that like whoever is first, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I've heard this answer is a similar answer to what Drug Fox says. He's just like, I don't know, it could probably be anybody from like 1 to 8, like on the tier list. He's like, definitely not ice climbers and probably anybody above them. I'm just like,
that's basically my take. I say 1 through 7 because I think ice climbers are number 8, and I don't think they're that good. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree. So Bones, you were telling me a little bit you don't necessarily like to talk in those kind of terms. Is there a tier list?
The first thing, I mean, I've had way too many discussions about tiers on Smashboards, and I guess what it always comes down to me is like, how do you define tier list? And I know no one likes to answer that question because they just like go along with the question without actually knowing what's being said.
Yeah.
But I think it's really important. Like, are you saying the tier list in the current meta? Like what characters are more likely to win in the current meta, or in endgame meta where like everyone's playing to the Melee's potential?
Right.
Like, what exactly are we talking about?
Yeah, so whenever I talk about tier lists, I try to define this. I'm surprised I didn't talk about it before I asked you guys, but it's like, it's just when I talk about my own personal tier list, and I know exactly what you're talking about, Bones. It's like, people are talking about tier lists, but they're all talking about different things. Like, they could be talking about results-based tier lists, or meta right now, future meta. So what I try to think of is like, I try to do enough critical thinking about the game, and just like theorizing about like human potential and average reaction time and stuff like that. And I think, like, let's say you tried to average out the amount of like execution errors people make or could make like on a realistic human level, paired with average human reaction times to like get punishes off of hits or reacting within neutral in certain positions, and then like play those two characters against each other, right? Like, what would happen if like we're hitting our punishes correctly most of the time, but not every time, because that's probably what Melee would look like in like 2030 if we all kept practicing or whatever, right?
Or Smash GI?
Yeah, Smash DI would be like, crazy.
Fall apart really quickly. It's just like, well, if Falco does everything right, but it's like, figures doing everything right.
Yeah, I mean, if your opponent's doing everything right too, you can factor that in. I mean, at least I try to, right? So it's like, I think, okay, I down aired a Marth. I got a late down air on a Marth at 0%. He could either SDI to the left or SDI to the right. Like, in the future, is every Falco just going to be dash JC shining a 50-50 either to the left or the right? Potentially. Like, but you also have to think, did you get that down air in a position that was unreactable, right? So can they not react with Smash DI against this down air? Because that's really important if you talk about the situation. And so it ends up just being theory crafting to hell, kind of. But I do have fun with it, which is why I talk about it, I guess. I was
about to say, I think tier lists are way more fun to talk about than they are productive.
Yes.
Because they're so fun, dude. I love disagreeing with people, like, vastly on a character, but I never actually care about the result. Even if it's designed, like, defined correctly and stuff. Like Bones is saying, like, it's important to define it. It's like important in that like it makes the discussion marginally more sensical, like it more purpose to it, but there's still very little actual purpose to it when you do it. Like, even if you like de facto found out who the best character was with the best defined tier list, if you're still playing Falco, you still got to focus on the interactions and the matchups while you're playing, so
yeah,
it doesn't actually help you in the matches and stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. Bones, do you feel similarly?
No, I mean, I pretty much agree with that. I guess what I would come down to is like discussing matchups is way more fun for me. Like, if you want to talk about what players should be doing and how the matchup should be playing out, I think that's way more interesting. But as soon as you start talking about tier lists, you're talking about it's such a large scale of statistics that you're incorporating,
boiling down to one.
Yeah, it's like, well, when does best of 5 start? Because matchups vary immensely from like best of 3 and best of 5.
It's
actually very
nervous.
we need a different tier list for best of 3s or best of 5s. Oh my goodness.
Matchups change based on best of 3 and best of 5 because you have different stages.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Falco versus Marth won in a best of 5, and he has a free win on FD, quote unquote free.
Yeah, right.
On FD, well, like,
he doesn't though.
If you, I agree, but if he does have a free win on a stage,
yeah,
or a really powerful stage, that can sway a matchup from 50-50 to 70-30, just based on like if you use the what is the website called?
I need data.
I need data.
Yeah.
They have the calculator for it.
Right.
Like you can just type numbers in there and just mess around with it and just see how much one good stage can change the ratio of a matchup.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even really think about that. Yeah, so tier lists, I guess, is what I usually use as just like an icebreaker question to get into talking about matchups. Because someone will say to me, I mean, you guys are both very sensible, so it was hard to get that out of you. But I usually exactly. I normally have someone that says like, oh yeah, Pikachu is like better than Sheik, and I'll be like, okay, well let's talk about this for a second because because like what matchups do you think that Pikachu does better in, and then we'll talk about those matchups. But are there? I guess what I could just ask is, are there any clear matchups? Yeah, are there any clear matchups that you guys think is particularly difficult, or one that you potentially think that Falco loses?
Do you want to go first?
I guess I'll just talk about Falco Peach for a bit, since I think that's the matchup I've studied and have had the most progress in recently.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
And I mean, I go through phases of thinking like matchups are impossible, and then like 100-0 for me.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like the current wave I'm in, but it's really feeling like if I played the way I wanted to, then it would be really hard for Peach. Like, if you are using Full Hop Phantasm Ledge Cancel on top plat, I think Dreamland and Battlefield immediately become way harder. Like, Peach just can't reach you up there.
Right.
That's hilarious.
So, that's
I mean,
something...
I've had a set where, like, we tried to do that to time them out.
Yeah, you're mean to Peaches. That's what I know.
Jeez.
But
I mean to everyone.
I know.
I mean to everyone, dude. Do not discriminate.
So Bones, I did want to talk about that because
Falcos with Marth. Do we really need to talk about how mean I am?
I know.
I love Bones' Marth.
It's very funny to watch.
Tired my mom.
Nice. So what I wrote in my notes, actually, and you probably saw it, is like I talked about how I want to talk about floaty matchups, and then I wrote circle camping ? Because I remember at one point I was on a flight, and it's really funny because I messaged both of you guys, and I said, I'm taking notes about Falco shit right now just on my phone. I was like, is there anything in specific that you guys are wondering what my thoughts are? And I think that, Squid, I can't remember what you wanted me to write about.
I said something about Fox on platforms, I think.
Yeah, probably Fox on platforms, which is really interesting. And then Bones was just like, well, I've been camping Peach hella hard recently, and I still managed to lose the set or something. Like, do you think that circle camping is good or bad? And like, I've put some thought into that, but I'm sure that you have too now, Bones. Do you have any thoughts since we talked from then? Do you think that playing campy is really good against Peach?
Well, I think it's important to just to put it into perspective. I think back then, which was pretty recently, I was very focused on having a set game plan and going into a match and just like, and if I lose, figure out how I can make like I just wanted to play in a very 20XX style way, where like there's literally just nothing they can do if I follow the flowchart.
Is that when you had the tweet that was like, I just want to make my flowchart so complicated that they can't read me or something?
That's actually what I do when I'm like being tech chased. I actually just come up with the most convoluted reasons possible for like why I'm gonna tech left. It's me effectively random. And I do it. I think it works, honestly.
That's so funny.
No, this was more like macro strategy, where as I was playing happened to be campy enough where it actually seemed like it was possible. I decided that I need to be more flexible with my game plan. And focus on like micro situations more, where like I want to be able to play any individual situation instead of force my own game plan. Because the problem with trying to like let's say I go into a set saying I'm gonna circle camp the fuck out of this Peach. That's all, like, they find a way to stop it, and it's like, do I want to lose the set because they figured out how to beat this one strategy?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's really bad, especially for Falco, where you lose a whole stock, figure out what you're doing and read you for it. I decided that wasn't really worth it, and I think there's still a lot of times when circle camping is good for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But I get way more mileage out of actually engaging when I know I have the upper ground. Like if I'm on the ground and I know I have a frame advantage or something, or I have Peach and Shield, it doesn't make sense to circle camp there when I could get a better mix-up.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, and that's I don't know, I don't think I ever messaged you back about it, which is why I kind of wanted to talk about it on the podcast, because when I thought about it, like I was thinking, okay, well, circle camping, let's just imagine 20xx. The problem is like you run into a point where they either figure out how to hit you, or you mess up, right? And if you mess up and you lose your stock for it, it's like that can either be extremely demoralizing, first of all, if you don't have the right mentality about just like, okay, I'm going to go back to circle camping, who cares? And then not mess up again. But it can just be really, really difficult. And it's hard to find, for me, when I was thinking about it, it was like, how do you get a clean hit that is meaningful while you circle camp and not allow the Peach to have a way to interact with you where she can also get a hit? Because like Peach's hits come a lot of the times either from trades or just like crouch canceling or shield grabbing or like ASDI down, something like that. If you are playing in a way where it's just like you're attacking from above a lot of the time, or you're hitting her with you're trying to space aerials really well and stuff like that. And so it's like you touch Peach
I think you just can't get a clean hit.
Right. I mean, that's like the goal.
Sorry.
No, I get it. But it's like you hit Peach one time, and it's much less meaningful than if Peach hits you one time. Right? That was just kind of my thinking.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a big fan of like this intentional, like explicit camping sort of strategy, because it's like Drug Fox always talks about how like Melee is a gambler's game, right?
Mhm.
Like at any point, a decision you make has a chance of working and a chance of not working.
Yeah.
And when you choose to do something like circle camping, or some other characters might be like dash back camping, or like like doing the safe option over and over again, you're still gambling. It's
Right.
just you're choosing the like low payoff, low risk reward over and over again.
Right.
But you're giving up the possibility for like, I don't know, let's say you have an 80% chance of hitting them with a very favorable mix-up, but you don't even want the 80% chance of hitting them because that's not the safe option. So you end up, like, in the long run, giving up favorable options in order to pick the safe option over again. It's like you're trying to avoid gambling, but you're actually still gambling. So in the long
Right.
run, it doesn't help.
I'm not sure the gambles always have to be like that, though. Like, I think if you look at something like Puff camping on the ledge, she's not playing low risk, low reward. She's playing low risk, high reward with
Right.
low success rate.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that simple, but in general, I would agree that like the predictability that comes with strategies like that isn't worth it.
Yeah, like you said, for like a 5-second span, I think that strategy could be amazing. Like, you can hardly get touched, and especially if you're playing, like, if you only do it for 5 seconds in spurts or something, like, how predictable is that? It's like you're playing this extremely low-risk strategy for part of the game, and it's like, okay, well, how are they supposed to deal with this? When are they going to be reacting or interacting with it? It's incredibly difficult. So I like that you
they
boiled.
also might overextend in those 5 seconds because they
Yes.
aren't expecting you to be super safe.
Mhm.
And I think that's when it's really good. Is like you full hop Phantasm ledge cancel on the top plat, and the Peach tried to like nair you. Well, now you have a free opening.
Right.
But if all you do is the full hop Phantasm ledge cancel, well, she's not gonna nair anymore. She's gonna know what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
and she's gonna pull a turn up or something.
Yeah. That
And
makes
it's
a lot
not
of
as good
sense.
for her, but there's also no risk.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. So in your opinion, altogether, when you've thought about it, though, like given the interactions where you have frame advantage or just like a mix-up advantage in general, you think that Falco controls that matchup pretty well? Do you think that Falco wins that matchup, would you say?
Learn how to deal with floating Peach.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy how hard she gets trapped on the ground. I think the same thing about Puff. When you can laser those two characters on the ground, their jumps the way they want,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually pretty bad for them.
Yeah, I've always said
But,
the same thing, actually.
Getting that can be hard, and then you always have the fact that the punish game is way in their favor.
Yeah.
So like no matter how many times I get Peach trapped on the ground, she only has to grab me once, chain grab me on FD or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's definitely one of the most
Or just
frustrating
edge guard
things.
me.
Yeah, I was just talking about risk reward in my local Facebook group, someone was just like, they were talking about stage positioning, and like what are the payoffs of having good stage positioning. I was like, well, it's just like basic risk reward. Like there's risk and reward in like being near the ledge because you can reversal people, and then there's also reward in being in the center of the stage because, you know, your hits could be possibly more meaningful, lead to larger combos. Also, there's just less risk because you're not as close to the blast zones. And so that's just kind of how risk reward works out. And it just seems like Falco is this character where you win neutral more times than the opponent, but your punish is just less. But a lot of the time, like I would still wager to say that Falco beats Peach, even though you just said like when Peach catches you one time in FD, that could literally be death. It's like I still think that Falco wins because you just have such a good mix-up advantage and can at least take your punishes decently far.
You think Peach wins on FD?
No, I think that
Falco wins.
I think that Falco wins on FD.
Okay, how do you see the matchup going on that specific stage? Because I'm curious, like, I get lasering to keep her on the ground, and then if she floats, you sort of just wait it out. But on the other stages, I use platforms so much to wait out floats. So, like, if she's floating above lasers, that's when I'll Phantasm to the top plat.
Right.
Or Waveland onto a side plat. But without that on FD, I find that I get cornered way more often.
Yeah.
And I also get punished way more.
I don't think that you have to wait out the floats. I think a lot of the times you can laser the floats. The full hop double laser with a fast fall or the instant double laser with no fast fall both shoot a laser right at the height that is above short hop laser where they normally float. There is no height that Peach floats where she can basically be safe from all laser heights. And if you do
those lasers take a while to set up.
Yeah, but she's slow. It takes her a while to float over to you. If every single time that she floats, she full drifts forward, then you don't need to shoot those lasers because Peach is going all in every time. She doesn't she can't dash dance in the air very fast with the float. Like she kind of changes direction very slowly. So if she does full hop, floats all the way to you so fast that you don't have time to shoot those lasers, then you just turn around and full hop back air a couple times when she starts approaching. If she's taking her time and being kind of tricky with when she's coming in, then most of the time, like the mix-up is giving you time to shoot that laser. And you can sort of read a lot of the times when she's likely to full hop or something to sort of force her or to like do a full hop double laser or something and potentially do it even preemptively. And you can mix up the fast fall double laser on the ground. And now she's not sure when you double jump if your second laser is going to come out, you know, which height it's going to come out, whether it's going to cover the ground or it's going to cover the air. And even if she does float there, I think you can still kind of wait it out and play it okay with like back air up tilt, short hop up air type of stuff.
So,
I'll have to play around with that.
What I think too is something that's really, really good against Marth, which is a similar concept, is when you do the you do like dash jump turnaround laser, you know, so you have all of your momentum moving backwards and you shoot the laser, right? Like just a short hop laser. You guys know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Like the retreating laser?
Yeah, you just do like a retreating laser, but not like a pivot laser, but just like a turnaround. Yeah.
Full momentum back.
Full momentum back turnaround laser. Yeah, that's how you want to describe it.
Yeah, that's the name. You know.
Yeah, we need to come up with an acronym for that or something. But okay, so that's really good against Marth. Bro. Yeah, right. So Marth can't hit you like if you do that. If you guys are both at like a roll length away, and then you do a dash turnaround laser, if Marth is moving forward, even with a dash attack, like he just can't hit you. You move away too quickly. And so what you can do with Peach is like, what I love to do when she jumps is I shoot a short hop highest laser to gauge the float height, and then I'll do dash full hop in this case because it's Peach and she's in the air. And then I'll do the exact lasers that you were talking about. I'll actually end up in the corner, but now I have Peach on the ground, right? So now I approaching laser afterwards, and now we're back in the center of the stage. Now I have her on the ground. She's being hit by a laser. So it's like I worked my way out of the corner because I, first of all, assessed that the float height was something that I wasn't going to be able to interact with in a favorable way. Occasionally it is, and then I'll hold my ground, right? I say to myself, like, oh, I can short hop fair this.
With a high short hop laser, it's so good for you.
It's amazing,
because, yeah, she has no float. She can't really double jump. Her double jump is terrible, and it takes her forever to fall.
Right.
Yeah. So, the other thing Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, could you clarify what you were talking about, Ginger? Because you said they float over your high short hop laser. I got that. You just full hop nair through them? Is that what you were saying?
No, I dash turnaround laser, but I do it with a full hop, right?
So he basically does two retreating lasers.
Okay.
But one of them's a full hop.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah, like the first one is normally just in place.
I've had people who are pretty good at like dropping float in reaction to full hop lasers, and so they like drop float fast, fall, run up to you, and then they close the distance pretty fast. They can be pretty scary to like shoot those full hop lasers.
I still think at that point, because I'm doing the dash turnaround with my full momentum,
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a way that Peach can get to me quickly enough to where like she can force a mix-up where I'm still in my landing lag or something, right? Like I think now
Right.
we're just playing mix-ups on the ground, which is fine with me.
But if she gets close enough to where you're cornered and you don't have a laser out, and now you're not comfortable getting a short hop laser out because she's close enough to put, like threaten a dash attack.
Yeah,
that
I
can
can
be
see
like
that.
a win. Like if you're seeding the stage, but doing so with
Maybe
the
you
idea
can
that
react
you're
as you come down with the laser.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
uh,
If you just see her enter run, because her dash is very short. You see her enter
Yeah.
run, it's just like, okay, well, there's like one thing that she can do from this point. It's like she's gonna dash attack or do like low flow aerial, and it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
fade away dare or full hop away from you,
wave dash back.
or wave dash
down.
back, depending on how much space you have.
Does Ftilt clank with her dash attack? I mean, I should know, and I'm guessing it does.
Does what?
It's a good question.
Ftilt.
I don't know. Probably Clanks.
I hope so. Well, actually,
So why aren't we just F-tilting Peaches running at us?
dude, F-Tilt is godlike against Peach. The more I use it, the more I think it's broken, but I don't know if I've ever thought about using it for that reason.
It's
So,
broken, but
so the problem
it's
is what
useful when she's cornered.
Well, down air beats dash attack clean, and then shield and crouch
What?
most of the time beat dash attack. Dash attack really only beats laser.
I've had varying results with the dash attack and the down air thing. So,
Your down air has to already be out.
okay.
So
Interesting.
most of the time your startup gets caught is what happens. to
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Then.
Do
So
you have to fade away, or can you do it in place?
that's a good question.
I feel like it would trade most of the time, no
I
matter
feel like
how
it
you
would. No,
drift.
Dude, it's better than you think. It's better than like your instinct.
I
I
hope
think
I'll
so.
lab it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lab it. I'm not sure if full drift works, but I'm pretty sure in place works, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty like fade away definitely works. So
Interesting. So here's my thing. Is I played against Armada. I play against Armada a lot. So one thing that we were doing, we kept finding ourselves in this Clank situation. I can't remember what move I was using against his move. Well, his move was a dash
Down
attack.
tilt and down smash.
No,
Are
it
you
wasn't
up
down,
tilting
down smash. Yes, I was up tilting it. You're 100% correct. So what I would do, maybe you experienced this when you played him too, Squid. So I have my back ready, and I know he's going to dash attack or like move in with something, and I up tilt. He dash attacks in it clanks, and then he immediately jabs afterward. And it's like, so I'm thinking like if F tilt is gonna clank with the dash attack, you have like a similar problem where she's just gonna jab afterwards, and then like what do you do in response
But
to
if
the
you
jabs?
if your up tilt clanks, what you do is you do the bones jab, which is you're facing the wrong way, and your jab pushes you out
Oh
of the way.
yes. Oh, that's amazing.
That's so funny.
Yeah. It's like a spot dodge, but you're jabbing. I've done that.
Yeah,
The bones
Same.
Down
jab.
tilt, it doesn't hit them.
I'm definitely calling it the bones jab from now on.
That's so
hilarious.
funny.
You might be able to up tilt CC down tilt the jabs depending on your percent.
But the thing is, like, what if she jab
Not a
down
reaction.
smashes, or
Yeah, not a
jab
reaction.
down smashes, or jab dash away? Like, I'm just not
Yeah,
convinced you're able to get a down
What's
tilt
the
out quickly
frame
enough to
advantage
do
on the dash attack?
I don't know.
Isn't dash attack more percent? So I'd imagine she's slower out of the
Is it more
animation.
percent?
Stronger the attack, the longer it
Longer
is
the clank.
during the clank.
Yep. I knew that.
Weird,
I don't know.
Like Falco F smash, which doesn't clank, and you just get destroyed.
Oh god, dude.
There's no way like this interaction is the matchup.
No. But it did come up a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're just thinking of ways to deal with Peach dash attack. Because for me, like up tilting seemed to not work very
Clank
often.
for dash attack, so Peach wins 60-40, guys. Sorry.
She has 3 more frames action flanks.
That's funny.
I would
Got it.
try more like instant downers in place.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Because I've been using run up shield
That's what Mango does.
to prepare. Yeah, I stole it from Mango,
Yeah.
and he gets some juicy up smash kills with
Mhm.
that.
Oh yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Peaches to be afraid to dash attack me at high percents.
Dude,
They should be afraid to dash attack. Like I don't think dash attack doesn't beat much. I feel like it only beats laser.
yeah, I know. And if you laser
And I feel
predictably,
like
it's like you're
laser
already
is
gonna lose.
Laser.
They shouldn't often be able to get close enough to you. Like it only beats lasers if you laser her very close and hit her with the laser.
Mhm.
You know, but if you hit her with a
Read the
laser
fuck
that
out.
close, you should be doing a better mix up than laser most of the time.
Mhm.
So I don't think it should come up that much.
One
but it
mix-up,
does.
one mix-up that I see happen with some like new school peaches, and even like Duck is doing it, makes me mad. Is he crouch cancel lasers into dash attack immediately? So if I try,
I think crouching lasers is like the future.
yeah,
Right?
I said it
It's
was
like
the
that,
future
right?
2 years ago, Squid.
Yeah.
And nobody still
Well,
does
it's
it.
still the future. It's not
I
the
know.
present.
I told everyone about it though, right? It's just like when Bones made that post about the throws, and it's like if you're picking port 4 against Falco, you're seriously hindering yourself. Like that's how I was. I was just like crouch canceling lasers is like the future, and if you're not doing it, you're an idiot. And it's like I expect everybody not to pick port 4 against Falco anymore, but it will still happen. I promise.
Well, they might still want it for their own throws, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's as valuable, but I mean, we'll have to wait for Bones' information dump that he releases about it.
Got a huge dump. And any day now, guys. Any day now.
Any day.
The Hacks Money slogan.
Yeah, I don't know about all the interactions with crouching lasers. I know it's like definitely underrated.
Mhm.
I have a theory that laser crouch is really good. I think I've mentioned this to you.
Dude,
before.
I started spamming it. It's amazing, actually.
Yeah,
it's really
broken.
good. Yeah.
Because you can kind of replace laser dash dance with laser crouch sometimes, and it gives you the same timing mix-up where you can dash out a crouch down air if you want to attack, like as a timing mix-up.
Yeah.
But if they power shield, you crouch the power shield, and I think crouching power shields is better than crouching lasers, because if you crouch a laser, you're still like, the Falco's still like +4 or something, right? Like after a crouched laser. So like he still has frame advantage.
No, not +4. So
It's something like that.
well, it's not
'Cause
good. No, it's plus. It's the same as shield advantage.
So it's +1.
I don't know about stale lasers on crouch.
Right.
I don't know if it affects it any differently than shield stun does because everything's stupid.
It probably affects it the same as.
I know that
it
a
might be
fresh
+2.
a fresh laser would be +3. I know that on a crouch. At least I'm decently certain. I could be
I
wrong.
see.
It could be 2 and 1. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
a while. It's been about a year since I tested it.
Okay.
It
That's
varies.
interesting.
Matter
Well,
way more than whether it's +3 or +4 anyway.
What
Yeah,
matters
right.
more?
The spacing.
Spacing
Right.
does matter, yeah. And then also characters' weight determines how much stun they take from the laser. So certain characters take different amounts of stun. It's stupid. Lasers are dumb.
That sucks.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So all I was going to say is that even if you hit someone who's crouched with the laser, you still have frame advantage. It's
Yeah.
way less, and they can catch you by surprise with certain options,
Mhm.
especially at certain spacings where like dash attack wouldn't work unless you crouch the laser, right?
Yeah.
But you can still beat the dash attack because you have frame advantage. But if you if you crouch a power shielded laser, the only way they can reach you is to first wave dash, and therefore you have frame advantage after crouching the laser because the wave dash takes too long.
Yeah.
So a lot of
They're-
times, like
if they're
crouch-
relying on, if they're relying on crouching your lasers, could you just like, I feel like you could just attack them because
yeah.
they're not gonna crouch the laser and then shield 9
Mhm.
times out of 10. Like who does
Yeah, yeah.
that?
Weirdos.
Yeah, so
So
laser
you can pretty
instant
much
down
assume
air
they're
is
gonna
going
try
to
and do
still
something
beat all their
proactive.
options. At crouched laser.
hmm That's one thing that I keep recognizing is like the worst options are becoming good again because of new meta things like crouch laser. It's like laser into immediate down air is like good all of a sudden, and it used
It's
to be
amazing.
it's so
always
good.
been amazing.
I
And
know.
It always will be amazing. It's a down air with so much frame advantage. It's so good.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But I think like you can add more nuance to it with like what I've started to do against Marth is all my instant down airs are done fade away. Like I'll even like dash forward, instant down air, but then kind of fade away.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm really trying to beat with the instant down air is dash forward. Because if
Yeah.
they dash back, I'm not going to reach them anyways. If they swing, they're going to hit me before my down air hits them.
That's
So
a good
if I'm
point.
only trying to beat dash forward, like I'm just gonna go forward a bit and then fade back so that I would be spaced against a shield anyways. So
Yeah.
you can sort of do little things like that to sort of look what you're trying
Actually
to cover.
use dash forward dare, and then drift back on the dash forward shuffle,
Yeah,
and that beats it. That beats the same thing you're talking about, but from a larger range.
that's what I was talking about.
So
dash forward, fade back.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
talking about the same thing. Yeah,
That's really good.
It is
Yeah.
good. I agree with both of you.
yeah.
So
Alright, we've strayed really far from the matchup. Discussion.
No,
Peach.
I know. I just want to say really quickly about this dash forward thing is that, but you need to determine whether or not you're going to do an early or a late down air because that matters about like what type of
Well, I
reward
was
you get
talking about
after.
early down airs here.
I know, but you should be doing late down airs sometime because when they dash
well,
forward,
if I do a late down air, there's a reason to go deep. There's a reason to do a
You
full
think
drift
so?
forward late down air.
You think
Yeah,
so?
because I do think that there might be a mix-up with Marth holding shield sometimes. And
Yeah. Marth does shield
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right. And so, like, the early down air wouldn't beat any of his options. Doesn't beat shield,
Oh,
doesn't
it's
beat
just
swing, doesn't
bad.
beat dash back.
Yeah, it gets
But
bad.
the late down air beats shield. It still loses to swing, and it still loses to dash back.
Yeah. Okay. I get that.
It's kind of my view on it.
All right, so that makes sense to me. So we strayed really far away from the matchup discussion. We were talking about Peach. I think we talked enough about Peach, honestly. Maybe we can touch on one more matchup, and then I really did want to talk about.
I have a thing about Peach that I labbed recently. It's
Sure.
That, so I've been labbing this laser. I call it the ASAP laser, which is
Okay.
like, you know how when you do an aerial frame perfect, you don't jump as high.
Yes.
So the same thing is true with a laser. You don't go as high if you
Correct.
short hop laser frame perfect.
Mm-hmm.
That laser, the like frame perfect laser, comes out at the very peak of your jump, which is not as high as normal,
Mm-hmm.
and it hits standing Peach, standing Marth, standing Falco, like all the like tall tall characters get hit by this highest laser, and it literally cannot be power shielded unless they see power shield because it's like above the power shield bubble. So it's like,
yeah, I knew about this actually.
yeah, okay, so that laser's pretty cool. Also against
I
Peach.
do immediate lasers like that all the time because you can fast fall immediately.
Yeah,
and
you
it
can
doesn't
fast fall
go
immediately.
lower. But I didn't know it hit.
It hits
I
standing.
thought it went
opponent.
above them.
Yeah, it
You
has
can't
to be
shoot-
frame
you can't
perfect.
shoot above Mark's
If you're
head.
1 frame late, the peak of your jump is higher.
Mhm.
But if you're frame perfect, you
So
don't
it's
jump
not
as
the
high.
highest laser.
No, it's the second highest laser.
Oh no, it is.
Well, it's
Is it the second highest?
It's
It is though.
both of them are the peak of your jump, but one of them, the
But-
peak of your
But
jump
the
is
peak
not as high.
is lower. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So is
Yeah.
it the second? So it would be. I think
So
it's the
not-
second
you
highest
could shoot
laser.
higher. Yeah, you could
Right.
shoot higher.
Right,
but
but
it
you
is
could only
the peak
shoot
of your
one height higher, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
I'm pretty sure, because that's
Um,
you know who actually taught me this? This is crazy. Is
Yeah.
that I learned about this like 2 years ago, when
Yeah.
Ice came to my house, and he was like,
Oh, really?
he said if you shoot the second highest laser height by doing the laser
Yeah.
frame perfectly like that, he was
Yeah.
like, then you can't power shield it. I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah.
And then I used
Yeah.
that as an argument when Arduinos were being talked about. I was like, I
Yeah.
would just program, I press left on the D-pad, and I do this magic laser frame perfectly every time,
Yeah.
and then nobody could power shield any of my fucking shit.
Arduinos.
But
And that-
they can dash under it. They can just run it.
They dash under it, but then you just do aerial in place, and then it's like you have this mix-up between very high laser, which they would get hit by if they stood still. Like Marth more recently are standing still in the meta because they
Yeah,
realize
yeah.
that dash dancing is not
It's
nearly
actually
good.
it's amazing against Marth.
Yeah.
Because Marth tries to stand still power shield.
It's
and
broken.
It will hit his shield.
I know.
And he won't power shield.
I know, it's
But,
amazing.
against Peach, what you can do is you can do the lowest laser followed by the fastest possible laser, and she cannot full hop above it. If she shields the first laser and full hops frame perfectly, she'll still get hit by the highest laser.
That's crazy.
So she can't like get there. to
She can't
float above
get
high
away?
lasers. Yeah,
That's really
Yeah.
funny.
it's
Damn.
really fun. If she takes that laser and then floats, she'll be like, actually she then might be high enough to dodge the highest laser, but still.
Yeah, let's just hope not.
Yeah.
That's so cool, though. Interesting.
So those high lasers are cool.
So let's see. We could talk about like one other matchup. I feel like we also talked a little bit about Marth in there.
Yeah.
What matchup are you guys interested in talking about? Puff, you want to talk about a little bit?
Well, I feel like the two characters that Falcomans complain about most are Peach and Puff, right?
Yeah, and Marth a little bit, but I mean, like,
It's pretty obvious how, like, you can see ways to beat pretty much every other character, but especially is like the one character where Falcomans are like, I don't know if he can do it, man.
yeah. And I get in my stream all the time since, you know, I'm an avid Falco lover and preacher. So people will come in my stream and be like, what do you think of the Falco Puff matchup? And I'll be like, I think the Falco wins 60-40. And they're like, Falco wins 60-40?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. They're like, I thought he lost that matchup. I'm like, well, I don't know where you're getting that information, but not
Yeah.
here, obviously.
I don't know. Everyone just kind of has different ideas.
Yeah, no, I agree.
that they just get.
Yeah. So I don't know how we want to start talking about the matchup. It's like, okay, so one thing that I found, because I talked to Mango about this matchup a lot since we talked actually, Squid, and when we
Yeah.
talked, I almost agreed with everything that you were saying, and then like,
Well, I didn't study it that much.
yeah,
Like we talked about the mango sets. Like I watched the mango sets, but I didn't do an analysis of them or anything. I don't really play a lot of puffs, so it's not like a big priority for me.
yeah, I totally understand that. But when I was at Summit, I had to play Hungrybox, and he had just beaten Hungrybox the day before. And he was like, he was like,
so you had just watched it.
I had just watched it, and he said, "Ask me any questions if you want to learn from the Puff Slayer." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, lol." And so we actually ended up talking. Like, he watched my games against Toussaint or whatever, and he was like, "Dude, you're like lasering way too much. Like, you don't realize how good back air is in the matchup. Like, you can just get in her face and back air." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to take those risks because I don't think that I have to." Anyway, we just had this big old discussion about Falco Puff, and he just he made me realize that there's a different way to play it, I guess, because the way that I tried to play it was similar to how Bones was describing Peach, where it's like I thought, as long as I do this, Puff can't hit me, right?
Right.
With anything that's meaningful. Always when I think about it, it's like, yeah, she can like take laser fair. But it's like, if I'm just holding down, what the hell is that ever gonna do to me? Nothing.
You could turn around up tilt, and then it's just like, cool.
Yeah. So,
thanks for the free opening.
Right. So it's like, I just tried to play in this way where Puff could never hit me, but then I became decently one-dimensional. And that's when I started losing a couple sets to Prince Abu. And that's how I feel like Hungrybox was able to adapt so quickly to this like playstyle, because obviously he's a top player. His punish game is also amazing. So once he like opens you up one time for playing this one way, when he found one opening because you're doing one similar timing, it's like he's gonna kill you. And it just made me realize, like, damn, maybe taking some risk is important. Like, I took notes in my phone. I don't have my phone with me, but it's like, sometimes forward smashing Puff when you are at high percent is not a bad thing. Like, if she's on the ground and you're behind her shield, like, forward smashing, not the end of the world. And it's like, drift forward.
PPMD forward smashed quite a lot in that match.
I know, and I never did it because I was just like, I guess I had gotten up there arrested, or just like arrest out of shielded one too many times. But it's just like, if I should be holding down after the forward smash regardless. Like, if I get up throw, if I get rested at 90% for doing a forward smash that could have killed at 40, it's like, this is very, very potentially worth it. And that's something that I hadn't even thought of before. It's like, I never wanted to take those risks. But what do you think about that, Bones?
I was gonna say it's also important to keep in mind the risks of camping. Like, you can feel really safe, but if you feel safe 5 interactions in a row and then you're cornered and you feel unsafe, like, how safe were you really being?
Yeah,
you were just laser camping.
I also think there's something to be said for like being safe, but eventually you're predictable. And even if, like, let's say, you know, if you're trying to assign numbers to these odds, let's say it's like 80-20, there's only a 20% chance if she hits me, unless she knows 100% that I'm going to do this and just goes for the hard read, then it's no longer 80-20. She's just only covering the one thing. And it's hard to, you know, play really safe without giving her that opening. So
yeah. What can be fun is predicting when she's going to go for the read. Then you make them feel like they literally can't do anything. It's like, even when I read it, it doesn't matter. And then it's like, ha ha ha. But no, so that's kind of how I viewed the matchup for a long time. How are you feeling about that matchup just in general, Bones? I'm curious, because I don't get to see you play the matchup nearly as much as I've seen Squid play it, although it's been a minute since I saw Squid play it.
I haven't played
a lot of Puffs in the past. I had shoutouts to the basement crew. I had Mahone, Aglet, and Fortune are all really... They're all Puff players, and I think they're all the type of Puff players that make you get better at the matchup. They don't just play like super cheesy or whatever.
Yeah.
Interact with you. So I think I've always been at the matchup, but I always lose in tournament unless it's a player I'm better than.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't see myself upsetting, just because the punish game is so brutal. Like, no matter how many times I'd win neutral, it really is just like one back air, and like feels like it's a 1 in 4 mix up. And if I pick the 3 out of 4 that he covers, then I just die. Like, I actually just die.
Are you talking about like recovering like 1 out of 4 mix-ups?
Yeah, it feels like 25% chance.
I know what you're saying.
When I play Peach covers a lot of options.
I'm like actually shocked.
And even versus her, I feel like I can recover a large majority of the time. Like, I just can react to what she's doing and then find a way around it. But Jigglypuff is the one reacting when I'm recovering, and it doesn't feel fun at all.
So, Bones, I think that you remember when I was talking about off-center on my stream? Hello.
That killed him, dude.
We can't hear you.
No, I don't remember.
Nope,
that.
not at all, actually. Bones, did we lose you?
Remember.
Oh,
Nice.
sorry. What? You do remember?
Yes.
Excellent. He remembers. Okay. So I think that's where I like to play the Puff matchup. I think that I see a lot of Falcos try to play defensively and end up in the corner. But I think that, like, if you play off center and hold down, like after doing a laser or after doing an up tilt or after doing a back air or something, I don't see back airs just knocking me off the stage. It just generally forces me in the corner, and then they've probably had to land with this back air that they hit me with, and then I full hop, and then it takes them 3 jumps to try and reach me, so they're never able to get there. So it's like, I think that you're getting hit in spots where you shouldn't be. Like, you shouldn't be positioning yourself at all.
I don't think I play neutral like super campy versus Puff. I mean, I laser a lot, but I really focus on trapping her on the ground and then like getting on top of her.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's really
I
good.
don't find myself cornered a lot. I
Well-
just brought up recovery because like if I get grabbed or something,
Okay.
like she wave dash back grabs me. I mean, I try to avoid that obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but when it does happen, even if it happens 1 out of like 20 approaches, I die off that one approach because they get me off stage and
It's interesting. I just like
just
you're potentially taking
don't see a way
risks in
back.
the wrong places then, because I just never feel as though like even against Hungry Box, you can watch he had to win neutral against me a lot. What I did that Mango never did is I did slide off DI2. I get up throw onto a platform, Mango would die. Mango would just die. He
Yeah.
got up thrown on a platform, back air, he'd get hit off, jump back air, he was dead. Against me, it was like he'd up throw me onto a platform, do his little reaction back air thing. I'd slide off, like turn around up tilt, and it's like he's fucked. Like I'm not off the stage. I'm actually in center stage. I'm not dead. And he has to try and get another neutral opening in another combo, and it really just doesn't work. Even up air, you can slide off until decently high percents against Puff. So
I think there's like
I've been doing the up air slide off, and it's hilarious that Puff mains still try to up air me.
it's so funny.
But I played Jerry at Xanadu yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and he plays Puff versus Falco the way I play Marth versus Falco. Like 90%.
I've seen Log complain about Jerry on Twitter. That's so funny.
I mean, he's just playing Puffs in such a degen way, but then
Mhm.
he's also like a good player on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, but like it was just like him fishing for pounds the entire set. But the problem is he got like his 8 pounds and he won.
Yeah. I mean, like
It's like, ugh.
I just feel as though in the matchup you can space around any sort of like high reward
big
thing.
threats.
Yeah, any big
Yeah.
threat, right? So it's like
I think there's also like
Dude,
stages
but-
to the matchup. It's like when you're below 45 to 50, you can play kind
Oh,
of risky.
yeah. I 100%
Yeah, because-
agree.
Yeah, because like when back air doesn't knock you down, back air's not that strong. You can like tank a back air and that's the end of her punish. Like she won neutral, got a back air, and then you get to take the risk again. And
Mhm.
sometimes the risk you're taking can be pretty worth it. Like if you land a nair on an aerial Puff, you can get like nair, up tilt, jump, shine, down air, tech chase. You know, like you can get like a real punish on her. And at the risk of just taking a back air for 11% or something, you know, whatever it is. So
Mhm.
it's like that stage of the matchup, I think, can feel pretty good, especially when you mix it with like what Ginger was talking about of like crouching, and then it's just really hard for her to like work around in a non-predictable way to get to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing those things, you're like, you just have to play around grab, and you don't have to worry about pound even until like 20, right?
Yeah.
So like 0 to 20, you only worry
I
about
just never
grab.
worry about pound because I just stayed outside of its pound range the entire set.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
maybe
then I
I'm
think
like
that's a
exaggerating
problem.
how much I got hit by it.
Right.
Oh, you think I should?
But I think if you're playing, correct. I think you have to play the mix-up sometimes because now Puff is like not afraid of you. You're giving her a lot of space to sort of like.
Well, I only
drift
played
in and out.
outside of it because he was like on the ledge or in the air. But as soon as I got him on the ground, I would jump at him.
I see.
Well, I play the matchup in like 2 different states. There's laser state and then there's like dash dance state, right?
Yeah.
And so like I play this laser state to try to force them to go above me, which is like I've never heard any other Falco talk about it. Well, not too many Falcos talk about it, but PP says that he tries to prevent Puff from getting above him, and I like when Puff is above me. So I don't know if there's something I'm not understanding, but I never like what is she coming down with that's meaningful? It's not like a Fox drill is going to hit you, and it's like you have a ton of upwards priority that is like that you can throw out on reaction to Puff drifting towards you from a vertical position. So to me, it's like If the Puff is literally just gonna play this game where she's gonna search for pounds and stuff, or try to take a little bit more risk, like if she's trying to space back airs, I'll do the lasers, right? Because then, okay, well now you can't space back airs. Now your back air is meaningless. You can't even do it because the laser's turning you around. So it's
lasers. I think lasers are like might make this one of her worst matchups because I think her back air is like so good, and Falco's the only character that can really directly beat it. Like,
along with lasers being good and that countering her back air, all of your hitboxes are larger than her forward air and nair. So it's like, what are you worrying about? Is it the pound?
Yeah.
So it's like, then I go into dash dance mode if I'm looking for like something high commitment, like if Puff is gonna throw out pounds or forward smashes or dash attacks even, which is something. I guess they can like try and dash attack under lasers, especially because I shoot higher lasers in the matchup.
Yeah, but not till 50 plus, right?
Right, exactly. So it's like if I'm even under that 50 plus, it's like I don't even have to worry about anything. But if they're throwing out these pounds, I go into dash dance mode, and that's when you start to just get these easy whiff punishes. And instead of doing short hop nair, I like to do short hop fair actually a lot to approach Puff, especially because it'll hit at like a Puff full hop height a lot of the time, which is really useful because that's where they position themselves a lot against Falco. So it's like, I don't know. I think maybe you just need to play in that dash dancey mode a little bit more potentially. I mean, sorry.
I think I might have led on I might have implied I was getting hit by pounds a lot, but I really don't think that was why I lost.
Interesting.
Because it sounds like it's like the punish game, to where you're sort of you're winning 19-1 interactions, but losing the punish game that hard. To a certain extent.
That's definitely. I mean, my punish game is good versus her too.
Yeah.
But it's just maybe it was the killing. Like I could get her to 90 to 100 real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially.
Next combo.
That's the big thing I've been working on in this matchup recently has been edge guarding Puff. PPMD is a big proponent of like you can edge guard Puff like any other character. I don't know why nobody else does. And so I've like lapped that out quite a lot, and like a couple things that like seem really cheesy are actually just very good in this game, in this matchup. The big one is forward smash at the ledge.
I agree.
It's like, it's not cheesy. It's like she has a really hard time working around it and drifting to the ledge.
Yeah.
And if she tries to work around it, she has to like go below it and then use her double jump, and therefore you have enough time to do something else after the forward smash. The only thing it might directly lose to is like pound at certain percentages, because everything else knocks you back on stage, so it like doesn't even matter. And if you're low percent, you're not afraid of anything. So one of the ways she could work around it is by recovering high, and then she's susceptible to full hop down air. And if she tries to recover really low and like double jump up to the ledge, I'm not sure. I was like labbing it and I couldn't do it. I don't think she can double jump to the ledge and sweet spot it and avoid down smash.
Oh no, like, definitely not.
Probably.
Right. So she doesn't have.
Sing lets her grab it more disjointed.
That's true.
I didn't try to sing to work around down smash, but that sounds pretty hard to do as well. But
I'm sure it is. But
yeah.
I guess the problem is like if she air dodges and you down smash,
I don't think she can
lag long enough that she.
Maybe I didn't think about air dodge.
If she air dodges like up, because air dodge always has.
I mean, any direction. Her air dodge mobility is so good.
It is good.
Where like if you swing and she air dodged when you swung, then she gets stage control, and you're like, you don't want to attack immediately because they might shield it, and then knock you off stage.
Yeah.
You also don't want to shield because they might just grab and throw you off.
So I don't think that you should be down smashing the ledge most of the time. I think that down air covers the same thing. Like if she air dodges and you down air, now what, right?
Yeah.
So you could just down air when she's below the ledge. I think it kind of just covers the same thing. Right?
I don't think it's quite as disjointed, both down and away. I'm not sure.
I think not nearly as much away, but I think it's pretty close with down.
Yeah.
I'm not certain, but I don't think that she can sweet spot around it with a double jump. Like, it would blow my mind. Like Fox's down tilt on stage.
Time, but it'll hit in most of the same scenarios.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe just down air a little bit more, because then like, what would beat it, right? I can't think of like anything. The air dodge would just be like, you can either charge down smash, hit both sides of you afterwards, and that'll like hit.
I feel like you might still be able to hit her after the air dodge too. Like if you down smash as she air dodges, then she has to fall to the ground, and then she has 10 frames of landing lag.
Well, she could fall to the ledge and grab the ledge. Right? That's just what I was thinking.
Maybe, yeah. That's true.
I sometimes call that out and down air her. Like if I just wait for her to drift off stage to grab ledge and I down air.
I still think that charge down smash is really. This is something that like I came up with or whatever. So when I I have this thing where around 75% you can up throw down air puff, and it will if you do it at 80 it just kills. Like it just kills puff. But at like 70 to 75, she'll be able to recover with an air dodge. And so what I do is I just charge down smash, and then she air dodges, and no matter if she drifts forward or back, she gets hit back off the stage with no jumps. So it's like she gets fucked, and now she's at like 95%. And if I just laser forward tilt her trying to drift towards the stage with no jump, it's like, okay, well now she's extra screwed. That's
or
just
forward
like
smash.
Or forward smash. Yeah.
Like the Ftilt, like you kind of mix them up, but all these options are kind of showing that like 90% of Falcos most of the time let Puff drift back to the ledge.
Yeah,
and
I
like
agree.
if you just don't let her do that, suddenly she doesn't live till 140 every single stock. She lives till like 80, 90.
Yeah,
and I think this is a part of what PPMD talks about with not letting Puff get above her. I think part of the reason is to force these scenarios more. If you have her like half cornered already, like sure you have, it's an alright position for her to be above you. But if you like wall her out with full hop back air, you can force her off stage, and now she has to deal with the full hop down air, forward smash, like down smash mix-ups, and you might be like closing out stock at 80 to 90 instead of playing the up tilt mix-up until 150. You know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think that just I have to put a little bit more thought into that, because again, my entire strategy was built around like, okay, I'll just win neutral a million times, you'll never be able to hit me, and then once you're at 150, I'll laser forward tilt you and you'll die no matter what stage we're on. Like, that was kind of my play style. Or, like, okay, I lasered you on the ground, time to force, like, a 90-10 mix-up in my favor. Like, woohoo! But no, I think that maybe trying to play the Puff a little bit more grounded could help. Because, like, especially at higher percents, like, what am I going to get? An up tilt into nothing, potentially? But there are definitely percent ranges where I think that having her above you can be really effective, especially when up tilt up air kills. Or just like CC Shine full hop double jump up air kills. I think those percents are really, really good to have Puff above you. But I can definitely see the merit in what you're saying.
What percent would Shine up air kill on, like, I don't know.
On Stadium, it would kill at like 65 before the Shine.
Yeah. So I'd say like 65, like that would make sense. And then like once you get it to like 90, maybe it makes more sense to sort of play the keep out game.
Yeah.
To try to stage control her out.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. But Bones, I'd love to take a look at that. Was that set on stream against Jerry?
Bones.
So it was literally my first match.
Your first match?
It was a really stacked tournament with 10 people of July.
That's crazy. So it wasn't on stream then? Hello?
Bones, I think you're cutting out every time you answer. just spam the answer till we react. We haven't reacted. Oh no.
My goodness gracious. We're losing the man.
We're losing him.
It was not on stream.
Not on stream!
Nice.
Yes, we can hear you.
How many times did you say not on stream? That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
Only twice.
Only twice? That's not bad.
I tried to spam.
But yeah, I would have liked to really watch that, because I'm curious where like you're getting hit or why you're getting hit and why it's leading to so much. That's like what I'm really interested in. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just really curious.
It really felt like I outplayed him so hard.
No, I believe
every
you.
Falco has a story. Every Falco has a story of like how they outplayed the opponent so hard, but it was like 90-10.
Yeah.
Neutral wins.
Yeah.
And then
that's demoralizing.
Still like.
Yeah, my guess is that grabs were happening most of the time.
I did win game 1, but.
Oh, that's good.
I don't think it was mostly grabs. I got knocked down a few times and missed techs and got jab reset rests.
Okay. Well, see, in that case, like in my opinion, like you kind of have this life bar of 0 to 50, and if you're getting knocked down, you've already reached this 50. So like you're not dead at 50, but the matchup becomes a lot harder to get to 50, I think.
Yeah.
So in one hand, it's like the punish game is not that bad if you're dying at 50. I think. Like if you've tanked 4 back airs and then the 5th one knocks you down and he kills you, I think that's fine. Like, I mean, obviously you want to avoid it.
Yeah, it's not fine necessarily, but
it's not a gimp, you know. It's not like, oh my god, this is the same matchup. He's killing me.
Yeah.
I was getting hit, but it wasn't like I was getting hit 5 separate times. It was really just one combo.
Yeah.
So I must have been getting hit by high
reward options at 0.
High reward options, yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what those are.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Either in my opinion, it's like either it's grab, or he's landing stray aerials that shouldn't combo but do, which happens a lot too. It's like sometimes I think
it might have been like nair into grab a few times and then up air. He really is big on up air. Like one time I bared at him. I did an auto cancel bear. Straight beat it. Like he did a short hop up air.
No.
That move was so dumb.
No way.
It does. No, dude.
I can see it. I can picture it. Up gets under the back air. Up air.
Feels bad. I don't want to picture it, is what I'm saying.
Up air straight beats down air, so it's like a gigantic.
Oh yeah, I know how huge it is. It's just annoying, but just like oh my god, to go. You know that Puff's jump squat. I know that both of you know this, but Puff's jump squat is just the dumbest thing in the world. I was gonna say goes over grabs, but like or goes under grabs, but like oh my god, it goes under jabs too.
I tweeted one time, Puff's jump squat is a frame 1 out of shield option.
It is. It's insanity.
I lost a set one time to a Puff predominantly because I would try to down air out of shield certain things. Like he would like forward air my shield high, and I would try to down air out of shield, which I don't do anymore. I've learned my lesson. But he would like fair my shield wave dash, and my down air out of shield would go under, and then he would grab me up throw kit rest or something.
So
and
stupid.
it's happened like multiple times. Or he would like fair wave dash forward smash, and the wave dash was just sneaking under all my aerial attempts, all my grab attempts and stuff. So it's like jump, wave dash, and stuff are just very like a common thing is Puffs to do like back air, wave dash away, back air, wave dash away, and it's like just sneaks under any potential counter attack. So you have to be real careful.
I think that recognizing spacing is really important there because like landing lag on back air is terrible, and since like Puff doesn't, I don't know, it's hard for her to like avoid out of shield options completely, especially when people aren't doing it like as late as possible. But was that Taffigans?
No, it was MacD.
My bad. I heard someone talking about Taffo, and I was like, was that Taffo? I wanted to say hi to him. But what was I going to say? Puff Jump Squat is stupid. Oh, I lost a set. It's on YouTube. You can go look at it. It's so funny. It's me versus 4%. It's some sweet or something. Do you guys know who 4% is?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay, excellent. It was like game 5 last stock, or maybe it was game 4, who knows. It was very important to me, that's all I remember. And I did this back air drifting towards him from the top platform on FOD. So I'm like, he's on the ground, and I'm drifting towards him with this back air, and he wave dashes away, and you can go frame by frame, and it doesn't look fair. It's like, my back air, like, is like hitting him, but it's not. And that's all because of his jump squat. It's the most annoying thing in the world. But yeah, that matchup is interesting. And again, Bones, like if you have a set where you feel like that's happening and it's on stream, I'd love to take a look at it actually, because I'm curious. I'm legitimately curious.
I haven't played any Puffs on stream recently.
Try to request it or something.
Mahone moved, and then Fortune doesn't really go to tournaments or play Puff.
Gotcha.
So I've played Aglet a few times at Unity, but I don't know. I feel like I always lose because of like a few key situations. It's never the general game plan that I have is not working.
That's interesting.
And I don't like coming away from a set and thinking I just need to play better. But that's really...
I do think there's probably an adjustment that can be made that will make those few situations not feel as random, or those few situations not feel as possible. You know, like
it's just like a reprioritization of like either positioning or move choice within neutral, I think is how I'd categorize it. But who knows for sure? We have no video evidence because Bones didn't play on stream. But yeah, let's see. What I did want to talk about a little bit, I guess, I was gonna talk about mentality with you guys, but I think that like we've already reached an hour and a half, and that was kind of the goal. Mentality is a whole other thing. I feel like we could talk about mentality for as long as we talked about Falco. So I guess what we can kind of end on, or maybe just like the last bulk question, maybe we'll take some questions from the stream after this, or maybe just some throwaway questions afterward. But I did want to talk about the gods, and this is something I had discussed with Bones at length in the past. Is like, why are the gods so consistent? How do they maintain this consistency? You look at winners semis of every single national that's happened in the past 10 years. It's the same 5 fucking people. Like, and like, to me, I can weigh risk reward in my head and think there is no way they can make it to winner semis at every tournament. It's like a Peach will chain grab one of them, right? Or just like a Puff will rest 4 times in a best of 3 or something, right? Like, and people, I just don't. I don't understand how it happens. And so my question is to you guys, and I guess Squid, I'd like to hear your thoughts first on it, since I already kind of know what Bones was saying in the past. But again, I'd like to hear what Bones would expand on. Is it the tech skill that they're so consistent with? Is it their mentality, tournament preparation? Like, what do you think that it boils down to? Because I personally cannot pinpoint it, so I'm looking for enlightenment here.
Yeah, I don't think there's like there's not a pinpoint, right? Because it's a big thing. It's not a point.
Right.
But I don't think it's mentality. I don't think it's their ability to perform under pressure. I think they actually are that much better than everyone else.
Interesting.
And maybe more so. And I think that kind of shows itself when they play on like Mango stream at Summit 0.5s. You know, when like Armada will play None and S2J, and he's playing Fox, and he does not lose a game for 4.5 hours.
Right,
right. Like, and it's just like, oh my god.
I mean, I was at Summit 0.5. I was on the side stream, and I took like 2 friendlies after 4 hours against Armada. It's like, this is stupid. But yes.
Yeah. No, so I actually didn't really have a good conception. Like, I wouldn't have had a good answer to this question like 3 months ago. But then I played Armada, right? Armada came here, and I've played him in 3 separate, like, 3-hour sessions now. Yeah. And it like, opened my eyes to a few things. It's like, number one, in-game, like, you can get this good. Like, he's better than I thought was possible, kind of, to where it's like the level of consistency that he has in tech skill, in recognition of situations. He knows, like, when to be safe, and when he goes in, it's a credible threat every single time. He never goes in haphazardly. It's like, he beats my defensive option, or he loses, but he knows why he lost, and therefore he avoids it next time or something. Like, it's just like the complete package of being like better than me in every single way. Like we were talking about Falco styles before, and like styles seemed so irrelevant when playing him, because it was like his style is picking correct options, playing solid, punishing well. Like it was just like playing correct most of the time. And I think that's like, while we're talking about this, like, the defensive Falco versus the aggressive Falco or something, the God Falco would be the one that has kind of the complete package, like, and is able to sort of do it every single time. So I think, like, what is it that allows them to get to that level above everyone else and stay there for 10 years, right? It is like the question. If my answer is I think they actually are that good, therefore how did they get there? I'm not really sure. It seems like they all did it differently, and they all kind of got, like, it's not luck, but like they didn't, like, it's not like they all took the same training regimen, all had the same coach, all trained for 12 hours a day, and therefore obviously they get there. It's like Mewtwo King had his own like weirdly obsessive training regimen. Mango had his weird style that he just is natural. He didn't copy anyone, he just did it and got good. Armada has his like insane punishes that he's able to transfer to different characters, and it works for everyone he plays, and he's insanely consistent. Hungrybox is the only character, the only player of his character, and he's way above everyone. It's like they're not following like a path, so it makes it really hard to say like, oh, this is the path that you have to take to get there. You kind of have to, I think, be able to forge a path.
Isn't that kind of frustrating though? Because it's like, man, I wish it's just like I could do this like Mewtwo King did it, and then I'd be good. Yeah. It almost seems as though it's different for everybody else. It's not as though they chose to make different paths. It's like, this was the path that was like almost destined for them. Like,
exactly, yeah. I think it's like they recognize, like, you have to be true to yourself, kind of, no matter who you are, because you're never going to have a chance by not being true to yourself. And maybe they got lucky that being true to themselves resulted in them being good. Maybe some people being true to themselves will mean they never get good. But also, I think everybody has the best shot when they're true to themselves, right? They do the path that's right for them. Right. And I think in order to get good, you have to believe that your path can get you there, right? So, like, I think I have my own strengths and weaknesses as a player in terms of, like, how I practice, how I view the game, the things I know, how I study, and then how I perform in tournament. Like, all those things, I have, like, my own unique take on that. And I have to believe that, like, that unique take, it can be, taken to the top. And if I do make it to the top, it's not going to be the same way that Mango, PPMD, Mewtwo King, Armada did it. It's going to be this, like, this certain approach I have towards the game. And so I don't think that there's something I can just say that's like, this is the way the gods do it, and I have to copy that. Although there might be something to be said for, like, drive and work ethic, but even that seems to not be standardized across all the gods.
Interesting, right?
But, like, when I played Armada, I definitely had a reevaluation of, like, this guy practices even more than I'm pretty much, like, most of my time is spent on Melee.
Mhm.
Like I work full time, I come home and I do Melee like until I go to sleep. And
Right,
I work
right.
like I'm spending like most of my time, but even then, like Armada came to SoCal and he's like, I'm grinding 12 hours a day with fucking anyone who wants to play.
Yeah.
I'm grinding
Yeah.
12 hours a day, and I'm like, that's not something I like. On the weekends, I don't do that. I don't go to 12 hours, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like it's there is something to be said for pushing yourself as hard as you know you can go.
It's hard to quantify the amount of practice Armada does though, because honestly, I mean, like I'm pretty good friends with Adam, and it's like I know when he comes to America.
He doesn't do that when he's in Sweden.
No, when he's in Sweden, he doesn't do that, and he comes to America pretty frequently. But when he does, it is 14 hours a day. It's wake up, potentially eat breakfast, like practice. Are you gonna buy me lunch? Yeah, sure. Practice. He tries to get his lunch delivered to the house every single time, so he doesn't have to go anywhere or waste time.
Facial's tilted. Facial paid for his lunch one time when he came over.
That's how it goes.
He has the Venmo request ready. He's like, one day I'm gonna ask Adam for that money.
He's never gonna get it, but
no,
definitely. And that's something I was talking about that with Sammy about how those individuals, not all of them, but like Mutaking Armada, are talented in the sense, like a lot of people say like Mutaking wasn't talented, he just grinded, but he has the talent of work ethic, right? Like he had the urge to go sit in front of a CRT for 15 hours a day and just learn about the game and practice the game. Like that is a talent. Not everybody can do that. It's crazy.
Sure.
Yeah. So
even like at nationals, like when I go to nationals, it's hard to keep your energy up the entire day. Like nationals are pretty grueling in many ways. Not like it's a huge room, it's loud, there's like social interaction constantly. You have to play, and then like if you play friendlies, there's rotations and stuff. So it's like it's pretty grueling, and I find myself a lot of the times every now and then I go back to my hotel room to recharge or something. And during that entire time, Mutaking is grinding on some 6-man setup for 12 hours from the moment the venue opened to the moment it closes. And it's like Mutaking's able to do that, you know, and it's and I mean he's also like willing to do that. I don't know, it's like that's what works for him, you know, because he's also the only one of the gods that does that. So it's like he found his path is by like grinding his way through, and then like I don't know, like, everyone has their own way. So it's like you have to ask yourself like, what does maximum effort mean for me? What am I able to do for maximum effort, and am I doing that right now? And you have to be honest with yourself. And I don't know how to get there. I don't think I've ever been able to like honestly answer yes to that question, to like I am putting maximum effort, you know?
It's extremely difficult.
Like, even when I like do it, it's like pretty short term to where I can say like I was maximum effort the last 4 hours, you know, like not even the last 2 days or something. Like, it's hard to truly like maintain that level of maximum effort or something, because there's always so much more that could be done. And I don't think that's true for all the gods. I think most of the gods, like, they do the best they can, you know, like for the most part. Like for Mewtwo that means grinding a lot. For Mango, it means whatever it means for Mango, you know. Like Hungrybox studies with this coach, however he does it, you know.
However he does
process.
It. Nobody knows.
He's talked about it a little bit before. That kind of opened my eyes, though. Like talking about how they would do like up, like they do drills. Where like he would up air him, and he would pause the frame he tried to SDI and see if he got it, and they would grind like specific things over and over again.
Really?
So like I think Hungrybox views the game in individual interactions and doesn't like study a huge game plan. He kind of studies like individual interactions until he gets really good at them. I don't really know. It's all conjecture, you know, but
yeah, super interesting. And that's one thing that I know that Duck has made a video about, was actually giving maximum effort in something, and how like almost nobody in the world can say like, yep, I did everything I possibly could in the moment
so
to
hard.
actually it's nearly impossible. So I definitely understand what you're saying. But Bones, was there anything that you wanted to add to that? I can't exactly remember the conversation that we had. Yeah, I'm wondering what your perspective on that is.
I wrote a couple of things down that I was thinking about. One is just raw experience. I mean, all the gods have been playing for long enough that they've seen pretty much every interaction.
Yeah.
And they've also seen multiple forms of the metagame. So, like, Mango can not only tell you what works now, he can tell you what used to work and when it used to work and how that situation used to be.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
That gives you like a deeper
Sometimes
understanding.
someone comes in with a weird style that catches people by surprise, and Mango's like, "Oh yeah, I remember that from 2007." This one guy
yeah. That's so interesting. I didn't even think about that.
A second point is just their punish games. I think they all have very consistent punish game. Like there's too many players. Armada harps on this a lot, and I didn't really believe him, I guess, until I played him in person, sort of like what Squid was saying. Just like this guy's a machine. Actually, the punishes I see on stream, he's just doing to me every fucking stock.
And it's like it's better than you thought was possible.
Too lazy. They think they can just like do a good punish. No, you have to do the best punish every time you touch them. And I find myself like being a little too okay with like not hitting a tech chase or something. Most of my tech chases.
I think like when I played, like I would do those punishes and thought they were pretty good, and I was like, well, maybe I could have extended it, but that extension right there was really hard. There's probably no way to get it every single time, you know?
Exactly.
Like, and I just kind of like be satisfied that like it's probably not possible. And then you play Armada or something, and then he does it every single time, and you're like, well, I mean, Peach's punish game's pretty flowcharty.
Right.
And then he switches to Fox and does it every single time, and then you're like, yeah, I mean, Fox is good, I don't know. And then he like switches to Quadriary Marth, and he kind of does it with Marth, and I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
So you definitely like you have to hold yourself to higher standards a lot of times, and then like put in the honest effort to get there.
They've I forget where I saw this, but they've done studies where like people settle into a typing speed, which is something like super simple, right? How fast you type. And people are like, well, this is how fast I can type. And I've been typing for 10 years, so my typing speed can't get much better, can it? But then if they just focus and drive themselves, like if they force themselves to type faster, then they get better at it. But if you don't force yourself, you will just stay at that plateau. So I think that's something that could apply for a punish game where, I mean, you sort of see it with tech chasing. Like, people didn't tech chase until they thought it was possible.
It's like the 4-minute mile.
And then, yeah, exactly. And then, I forgot what else I was going to say.
I mean, we can talk about the punish game just for a second. Like, that is super interesting because that almost harps back to what we started talking about, which was like, how much like effort do you give in friendlies? Like, how much conscious thought do you have within friendlies? And when I play Armada, I feel you can actually see him visually get frustrated when he drops a combo. Like, he cares about every single hit he gets and expects to get the most out of it. And it's like, when I drop a punish, I'm like, oh, heck, I guess we'll play neutral again.
I remember thinking this watching Plup versus Hugs at Genesis, where Plup is up 3 stocks to 1 and he rolls his eyes as he fucking drops a punish, you know, and he's like visibly pissed. And it's like, there's no way you lose this game, but you're holding yourself to this standard of like, there's no reason I should ever not hit this punish or something.
But maybe that's a really important part to like what makes them. That's such a good point, Bones. It's like they demand that stuff out of them to push themselves that much farther, and some people just don't have that drive. Like, it's crazy. I actually need to focus on that a lot more.
Drive, clearly. Like, you can be really driven to play better, but if you underestimate how good better is, then you're just gonna be focused on stuff other than punish game, which is still important, obviously. But like, I would say punish game is probably one of my best attributes compared to my other stuff. But I would get more out of focusing more on punish game because it just matters that much in Melee, the game. Then you don't need to worry about your punish game as much, obviously. So it's not like a universal truth that you need to be able to execute well. It's just in Melee it matters a lot.
But also it's like what you're saying about the punish game is also true about the other aspects of the game, which is like why when I was playing Armada, it's like not only does he have these insane punishes, but he also never commits when he doesn't have to. Always reacts when he can.
How did I not respect the spacing or something?
And how did he react to that? Oh, because he was at the correct spacing to know he can react. How did he know he can react to that?
I was waiting.
Why didn't he try to react to this? You know, like, it's like every part of the game has been developed higher than what I thought was possible. So it's like, my punish game is here. I'm striving for this. This is what I want to be good. And Armada's up here. And I'm like, oh, I should be striving for this. I didn't know that. And then in neutral, it's like, my neutral's here. I'm striving for this. Oh, I should be striving for this. I didn't know that, you know? So like, every part of like the game, my eyes were kind of open to be like, oh, I'm not trying. Like, it's not that I'm not trying hard enough. It's because you're putting
lazy.
Kind of, but also it's like, it's not necessarily laziness. I think like people put in the same amount of effort. They think they're putting full effort into it when they're striving for this, because this is above where they are, you know. And I'm like, I'm already putting as many hours as I can. When I'm working, I'm focused as hard as I can. I don't understand why it's not working. But if your like sights are set here and you land here, it's like that's what's going to happen if you don't know that you could get here. And then if you sort of like open your eyes a little and say like, what's the difference between these two, and how is this possible, you know? And once you start to like believe it's possible and know that you can work towards there, maybe it becomes easier to bridge the gap.
For it is like if you want to build a business, like let's say you own a pizza place, right? And you're focused on making your pizza store like the best pizza store in town, and then like you could work so hard at that for like 5 years, but then I think fully capable in another area, like they're focused on building an empire, a pizza empire, and just having that bigger vision makes them like they're planning for like multiple stores. How can I branch out? And this is stuff that the other pizza owner, the other store owner isn't considering. And it's not that they're not capable of doing the same thing. It's just they're not focused on what it would take to get to that level.
And the guy who's focusing on the one pizza store is putting all of his effort into it. You know, it doesn't feel easier to run one instead of
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be really careful about where you put your effort in.
Go back to the consistency. My third point was, this will probably be more controversial, maybe not with you guys, but Mango and Leffen are the only species that are considered gods, and I think Leffen in particular, like he's been upset plenty of times. He's beaten the gods. So
that's kind of interesting. That's what you're saying. So you're saying that like the gods are consistent, but maybe the species can't. But
it's like people say Armada and H-Box are so consistent. It's like you can't ignore the fact that they play floaties. Like it's a big part of what makes them consistent.
That's true.
And I don't want to say Falco and Fox can't get to that level.
But I think they have. Like
you need to raise your standards.
I know that like Mango gets upset, but Mango's still like 4.5 tiers above. You know, like the people below him, like the level of consistency.
Mango gets up. When's the last time Mango's been upset? He's got like 7.
I mean, he loses his Zane.
He loses his Zane.
True. Never mind. I just ate my words so hard.
Bad.
But PPMD was kind of there. Honestly, Armada's Fox basically doesn't lose to anyone. Like it's like, it's still possible. I think.
But like you don't see Armada's Fox. Like what if Armada's Fox had to play against Crush and Chew and S2J constantly? Do we really think that it could be as consistent as his Peach or his Puff? I'm not sure. It's hard to say.
I think he'd get like, you know, he'd have losses that I can count on one hand in the last 10 years. I feel, you know,
like
the Bizarro fight, bro.
Yeah, well,
I'm just joking.
His Fox was like,
Armada's gonna murder me next time I see him. But no, I think if he played Fox more, obviously his Fox would be better. You'd have to be psychotic in my mind to like not think a floaty is easier to be consistent with.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. I do think that Fox and Falco can be consistent. I think that Falco specifically requires a lot of precision. And it's like, Jesus Christ. Sometimes it's like, it's really frustrating for me, someone who's trying to be precise constantly, when like, oh, damn, I fucked up one little thing. And then it's like, oh, there goes my entire punish. I don't even have a positional advantage anymore. Or like, there goes my stock because I've been reversaled in the wrong position. Because that's where my combo ended up. Yeah, what's up?
I always have this joke. I call it up throw to die, where you up throw someone and you try to follow up and you die. But also it happens in other places in your punish, where you like, I don't know, you down air shine, down air, they land cancel, down smash and kill you, and you're like, man.
Fuck, dude, Kalindi will not stop doing, you call it land canceling, where we're on FD, I down air, and he grabs me out of it and chain grabs me, I want to die, dude. Oh my god. And it's like, wow, if I did my down air probably like 2 frames sooner, that probably wouldn't have happened to me. But it's like, and do you think that Marth is worrying about like the exact precision of the timing of his stupid up airs and forward smashes? No! They just, oh my god, they make me so mad.
They're worried about other things.
They're worried about other things, which is fine in every character.
My
it's
just to finish up what I was saying, my fourth and final point, I think this is the most important out of all of them. It's they don't have lapses in judgments, focus, or discipline. Like, it's crazy how often even mid-level players or like top 100 players, they'll just do something dumb and like I think you can say Mango does dumb stuff sometimes, but even his dumb stuff, it's like you could tell he was going for something.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't just like lose focus or have a brain fart. He was trying to do something retarded.
Yeah, no, it's actually
Yeah.
insanity.
My most recent loss to I lost to Caesar recently, and like my biggest like reason for it in my mind was like I had a lot of openings that were me deviating from my game plan and just doing something that
errors.
Yeah, it's not even like an error. It's like I'm not supposed to do. Like if you ask me what my game plan is, this option would never be there, and it was like full approaching down airs at certain spots.
I guess I meant unforced error in the sense that you didn't follow your game plan.
Right. No. Same. Yeah. Same thing.
Like literally just a lapse in judgment where you're like,
yeah.
If you could freeze time and say like what you should do, you would never say.
I would never say what I picked. Yeah. Exactly. So.
Right. And I think it's really hard with Falco because you have to play really fast and you're making a bunch of quick decisions off of lasers, off of your dashes.
Yeah.
And it makes it really hard, but I do see I feel like it's possible to play at a level where like you're not making those lapses in judgments with Falco.
Yeah.
And then you're able to beat floaties that normally you'd be like occasional hits are too much.
Yeah. I think it's possible though. Like PPMD was easily there, and I think it's like I know you're a PPMD hater.
No, I'm not a hater.
You're
I
a
love
PPMD
PB. I love
hater.
PB. I love PB. But so my problem, and this actually stems from something that I actually wanted to talk about after this, just like get quick answers because we're approaching 2 hours here, which is a very long time.
I think 2 hours
podcast.
is fine.
Sure, it's probably fine.
Stop at 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm a degen, so
right. I'm also a degen. So the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, and this also goes along with the gods, but it's more specifically Falco, and maybe in Mango and PP we can tie that in, is I feel like flustering people or confusing them with Falco or overwhelming them was such a large strength of Falco and Falco players. Like when you saw PP and he's just like, holy shit, what is he thinking? He's dash dancing in some uncontrollable rift within time and space. Like how can nobody can hit him? Holy shit. And it's like
dash dance.
Right. And I think if that same dash dance sequence happened against Crush today, I think he would get 0 to death. I think Crush would just like walk up and up smash him.
Run up and up smash him.
Yes, exactly. And then he would die. And it's like
said the same thing.
Exactly. And it's like I think he would die. And it's like I don't think that PP was ill-informed. I also think that he was doing that because he knew that it would work because of the meta. I think that's incredibly important. I talk shit about PP, right, all the time, but I think that he was a genius because he knew that he would have to put in this amount of effort or focus or amount of tech skill into this one situation, and it would either work or not work. And if it didn't work, he would do something harder so that it would. But he didn't like do unnecessarily hard things, which I feel like I
had layers and knew how deep he had to go.
Exactly.
And maybe the meta now is many layers deeper. And
that's
the question
what I think.
Are we sure that PPMD could get to that layer now?
I think he could get to the layer, but is he mentally at that layer right now? Like if he jumped into a tournament right now against Crush and Crush started doing take laser turnaround up tilt, take laser full hop, and take laser dash back.
You have to believe me.
Dude, I don't know. That's the thing. That's the thing is I don't know. So it's like, oh my goodness. I have a hard time believing that like all of this stuff would still work. So I guess it's like since Falcos can't just fluster people anymore or as often anymore, like what does that say for the meta of Falco moving forward?
Overwhelmed anymore.
I don't think it was as much fluster. Well, it might be to a certain extent, but I think like PPMD style is largely based around mix-ups where he kind of branches out the options and knows what the favorable outcome is and what the unfavorable outcome is. So if there's like certain options to his opponent's favor, he's very good at like diagnosing them or like compartmentalizing them into a set of options and finding the set of options that beats that. So like I'll do these mix-ups because it's very favorable, like amalgamation of options versus this amalgamation of options.
Agree a lot with that.
So it's like if he played Crush and noticed, okay, laser turn on up tilt is a possibility and full hop's a possibility, and this is like an oversimplification, of course.
Yeah,
He's good at like narrowing down the set of options that they have and then adjusting his play style or what mix-ups he uses. So maybe that sort of dash dancing style would not be what he utilizes, but also he didn't utilize it in every single matchup, every single game, every interaction.
I agree.
And so, but once again, it comes back to us not really understanding what X factor all of these gods have. And PPMD is even more mysterious because he plays the character that we play, and we can't see it still. And he hasn't played in 4 years. So
right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Bones, do you have anything to say about that?
PP. I don't want to say my thoughts because they're dark thoughts.
Yeah? Okay, so are you in the same boat as me where it's like, oh, this stuff wouldn't work anymore? If you don't want to if you don't want to say it, I won't make you.
Whatever. I don't think PP will care because I think he'll mind people being skeptical, and I obviously have so much respect for him as a player.
Same.
I can't help but feel like there's too many, like, the original joke about Falco Master was that like Falco would just laser and down air his way to victory, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the new Falco Master be that like someone's really good at all the Falco stuff and they just destroy the Falco player. Falco Mastered as a Falco is to me. So
wait, what?
Explain it again.
Okay, it's like the anti-Falco Master, basically.
The anti-Falco Master.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
I think PP, if he went to a national and was like seeded, I don't know what you would have to seed him at, but
Who knows?
I can't help but think two players would just anti-Falco Master him. Like, they would just be like, this shit doesn't work anymore. I'm not respecting the options you think I should be respecting. And I'm just going to kill you off of them. I can react.
I'm furious.
Dude, okay. So I see a world, I see both of your sides so well. It's like, yeah, maybe PP would be able to adapt so quickly, or maybe PP's already thought of those options because we've been analyzing this play, or maybe PP would be able to make those adjustments like on the fly. But then also like anti-Falco Masters, like, dude, that's a legitimate thing.
So part of it, the question is like, would 2014 Armada be able to succeed in this year's meta, or is 2018 Armada that much better?
2014 Armada doesn't die from a hit. Like there's no universe where Armada is dying because he.
I mean, like, people died from a hit when they played Armada in 2014.
No. I'm saying Armada's Peach.
No, I know, but
Armada's
PPMD still died from a hit in 2014. Versus the caliber of players he was beating consistently. Like
he wouldn't have as much time to adapt, is my point, I guess. Like Armada, I mean, we've seen it. Like if you watch Armada versus the Falcon players, the way he adapted over the course of those two sets,
it's actually crazy.
And Wizrobe, I think it's very those two sets are amazing to me because like you could see the changes in his gameplay. He was
I agree.
On the fly problem solving. If that's Falco, you don't have time to problem solve. Because you've already been like you have how many interactions do you think it is difference between Falcon and Peach?
These were still issues.
I don't want to think about it.
I agree, there's still issues, but we're talking about PP adapting to what is it, like 5 years of meta? I don't think he can do it in a best of 3.
I don't think any Falcos caught up to 2014 Falco meta.
Oh, that's something. I don't know if I'd agree. Well,
that's ignorant, dude. I think the Falcons. I used to troll Falcons all the time about how scrubby they were, but they've put in so much work. I think people underestimate that character so much for no reason.
I don't know.
No, I'm talking about like anti-Falco meta hasn't caught up to what PPMD was doing in 2014 because no Falcos do what PPMD was doing in 2014.
I don't know if that's true.
Falcos do what he did in 2014 because it didn't actually work.
Oh no!
What was the day that it stopped working? I'm curious because like it worked in 2014 and then he kind of stopped playing and then somewhere in between there, it stopped working. Like, mind you, nobody else did it in 2014 either.
I'm not trying to say nothing he does works,
right?
Obviously. But I think a lot of the stuff he relied on, like relying on people to expect or respect certain options. If people aren't respecting those options, and then they're also punishing him for thinking they will respect it. I think that's a really hard transition to make.
Okay, so the way that I want to phrase it is like I mean, I said it earlier in the podcast, like move prioritization and risk reward have changed not only within neutral but just within punish game and stuff like that. And so risk reward is completely different. So the set of options that he was analyzing in the past is actually different than it is now. So it's like he not only has to worry about like whether or not he's going to win an interaction, but what the implications of winning or losing that interaction could mean. Also, like his potential reward back in 2014 was much lower than it is now because people have a lot better understanding of Falco's potential punishes. Like for example, like down airing the ledge, right? Like he just down airs the ledge every time. He doesn't ledge cancel down air grab ledge. He doesn't nair like I do. He down airs Fox at 75 and they don't tech in 2014. Tell me why they don't tech? I don't know. They must have not thought it was possible. But KJH would tech side B ledge dash every single time, and people would be like,
he'd be
"Oh
down
shit!"
one stock to 3, and he'd be like, "Glad I have this stock."
I mean, I almost hope that that's the world that it would be, and I hope, like God, I hope PB doesn't see this and think that I think ill of him. I think he's a genius. I literally think he's a literal genius.
But it's just that I don't think any player using Falco could adapt that quickly in one tournament.
5 years of meta in one tournament. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Well, again, I'm not saying he'd do it in a tournament. I think it's possible.
Okay,
It's
that's
like,
true. I guess
conversation was if he got dropped into a tournament as his current
I did
Right,
say
right.
that.
in his current form.
If PPMD came back in this tournament, that's a different thing. But my point is when PPMD was doing it, if PPMD did not exist, we would be having the same conversation. He was still the only one doing it back then, is what I'm saying. So it's not like
exactly
succeeding with Falco. Like back then, it was like, I don't know if Falco can beat Puff or Peach. It's like, yeah, but PPMD does it. But if you take PPMD out of the equation, people would say, yeah, but I don't know if it's possible. He was he was the one doing it. So it's like, it's hard to say now because we don't have the guy to look at and say, yes, it's possible. But we would be saying the same thing back then if we didn't have the one guy that was like, Mango didn't play those matchups and stuff.
Right.
I mean, neither did PP though. Like he was playing Marth a lot even before he quit. Like 2 years before he quit, he was using Marth versus Armada, and he didn't beat. Like when was the last time he beat Armada? Was it
with Falco?
2013?
It was Evo
2013.
2014.
I think it was 2014.
When he 0 to death them on Yoshi's at the beginning.
Was that 2014 or 13?
2013 is when he 0 to death them on Yoshi's at the start.
That was such a sick combo. I actually looked at it the other day.
He beat him with Falco.
Apex 2015 was mostly Marth, right?
It was almost all Marth. There was one game of Falco, I think, and then the reset happened, and then he switched back to Marth, and then 3-0'd Armada in the second set of Grands.
Yeah, but even like, dude, Armada didn't switch because he didn't think PPMD didn't switch because he didn't think Falco could do it. He switched because people are saying Marth isn't good, and he's like, "Fuck you guys, I'll show you Marth."
That's not
good.
why.
And he's enjoying playing Marth.
Not okay. No. PP said in an interview after the tournament why he was picking Marth. No. So
we're past 2 hours now, by the way.
I know we are. It's been 2 hours and 2 minutes. But no, legitimately, he did say why he picked Marth, and he was like, "Oh, I felt like I had more conditioning set up, and like I feel as though my Marth was more warmed up, and so it would make a lot more sense." And
also, like he was already experiencing health problems by that tournament. And
yeah. No,
like that's it's not a Falco meta thing. That's a personal thing.
I know. It's hard, especially when like we're using these two human beings that have actual problems and situations in their lives that they have to deal with as examples of what Falco the character can do.
That's like when we're talking about tier list and what a tier list means.
Right.
I was about to give this meme answer, which is like my definition of a tier list is like the order of how likely it is that Armada is going to play this character in tournament.
Right.
So Peach is top tier because he plays her a lot. And then Fox is second because Armada plays him a lot too, And then third best is whoever the third most likely. He's played Sheik in tournament before, Sheik's probably third best. Like
right.
And Sheik are tied.
Oh god. Yeah. Have you guys ever played Armada's Falco before?
Yeah.
It did one of the coolest combos that's ever happened to me before. It was actually sick. He edge guarded my up B. I did like an upward angled up B back on the stage, and he did like a single hit, like second hit up air into like death. I don't know. He did some crazy shit
Yeah.
to me. I'll never remember it. And he just looked at Clint. He was like, "You like that shit?" And I was like, "Dude, come on, give me a break." Like, how do you just pick up this character and do the coolest shit I've ever seen?
Yeah, I stole a couple
Oh.
things from his Falco actually. He was playing it on stream, like in versus some random in Sweden on his stream one time,
Mhm.
and I definitely stole some stuff from his Falco. But then when he came here and played it, I didn't think he was that good at the Ditto.
The Ditto's hard, and
Yeah,
like
I
styles of the
agree.
Ditto's hard to adapt to. R.I.P. to those Sweden randoms, by the way, that just get demolished every day. They're just level 9 CPU Falcon replacements.
Yeah,
like,
that's
oh
so funny,
no,
dude.
poor guys. Oh, feels bad, man. I think that's a good place to
Squid.
call it. What do you guys think?
Oh, okay, never mind.
Is that okay, Bones? You got something else you want to add?
I
You
was
have,
just
like, a
gonna
short thing.
I fucking miss. I'm so
make everyone feel more depressed by asking
Oh, you weren't here either.
who's like the lowest ranked player you could see PP losing to.
Ooh.
You don't think he could lose to like Diz Kid Boogie or something?
Oh,
There's a chance of PP
no.
No, he could not
You
lose.
think-
Don't
to
make
Diz.
me
you
think
PP's
about
gonna
it.
Beat Diz?
No,
You
don't
think
make me
PP's
think
gonna
about
beat
it.
Diz?
Yes, I think PP's gonna beat Diz. What the?
Oh,
Oh,
dude, he'd get wobbled in under a minute.
No,
get
don't.
wobbled
That's
in
not
under a
true.
minute.
Oh
That's
my
not true.
God. I admire your fandom of PP Squid, but
I'm
I
furious.
can't even.
no.
I can't even.
Okay, that's actually where I'm gonna call it. I don't want to think about it any longer. That's the show. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Thank you very much to Bones. Follow him at Bones0to-Death. It's listed on the overlay right over here. And also Squid at Squid's Laugh on Twitter. These guys are excellent. Bones actually has the most underrated Twitter of all time that I've ever seen. So
Good
please
stuff.
check those guys out. Super knowledgeable. Thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it.
Nice.
See you
Guys.
later. Peace.